Good afternoon or good evening. We've got a full house, and I would ask that if you have your phone with you, that you please cut it completely off. This meeting is live streamed, and I would ask that you respect the speakers that are up there so that they can be heard over the internet or as we live stream. At this time, I want to ask Chris Newkirk if he'll come up and give our invocation. Chris?
Chairman, Commissioners, let us pray. Lord, we come to you now and just give you thanks for the blessings that you give our nation, Lord, for just the opportunity that you give us to serve our community. And I just ask that your presence fill this room today. Lord, that you just allow us to speak with humility. Lord, that you just give us open ears to hear your voice. Lord, that you give us discernment and wisdom to see the actions that we should take and just allow our actions and our words to be a reflection of you. And Lord, just bless this room now. Fill it with your presence. Lord, and guide us in a path forward to a productive meeting. And we pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chris. At this time, I'll call our February Board of Commissioners meeting to order. I ask that you please stand, and Commissioner Dunn is going to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're down to conflict of interest. Does any of the commissioners have a conflict with any of the agenda items? Okay, hearing none. On the approval of the agenda, we've got one item that's been pulled. That's the one from the sheriff's office as it relates to the 911 center equipment. So that'll be pulled. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda. So moved. Got a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and we have a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. We're down to the items for presentation. The first one is our HR department, Dolores.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. We have two Beaufort County employees here tonight to accept their service awards. First, we have Mr. Jeffrey Hibbard with 10 years of service with the Emergency Medical Services. Next, we have Miss Anita Radcliffe, 10 years of service, and she's our finance director. I also have a number of other employees who could not be here tonight, but I'd like to acknowledge. We have Otha Whitney with 10 years of service with Emergency Medical Services. We have David Williams with 10 years of service with Emergency Medical Services. Nico Woolard, also with 10 years of service with the Department of Social Services. Laris Wynn, 10 years of service with our tax administration, and Melissa Satchel with 15 years of service with our jail. So let's congratulate all of those folks.
At this time, I'm going to recognize our county manager, Brian received on Friday night from the state auditor's office a good award. It was called the Cardinal Award. So that's a very prestigious award. The governor gives away the longleaf pine. And so congratulations, Brian, on your accomplishments over your last, 30 years, pretty much, in private or in the public sector. So. Okay, Anita, we're down to the audit report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have Mr. Alan Thompson coming up to the podium with me. He is a partner with Thompson, Price, Scott, and Adams. He's here to present his findings from the fiscal year 24-25 audit. He will be reviewing this packet here in the black binding for the summary presentation. I'll turn it over to him.
Good evening to everyone. If you'd be kind enough to flip over to page 1. Jump from that. On page 1, under our responsibility in relation to the financial statement audit, these first 3 paragraphs talk about the engagement letter, what the professional standards are in regards to an audit, that we provide reasonable rather than absolute assurance, and then it's our job to communicate any significant matters relating to the audit. 2 risks that we always identify in every audit that we do is the management override of controls on page 1 and then improper revenue recognition on page 2. And we perform tests to make sure that we're comfortable with those, and we did, and we were. Under significant accounting policies, the main thing that happened that was dramatically different than in the past was GASME Statement 101, which is basically sick leave, where you have to put that on the balance sheet, where in the past you didn't. It did impact your business type activities, and then Exhibit 1, it did have an impact when you rolled your general fund over to business type activities, which is what Exhibit 1 is. Significant accounting policies, which include allowance for doubtful accounts, depreciation, these compensated absence calculations, et cetera. We were comfortable with that. We were comfortable with the financial statement disclosures. No difficulties in performing the audit. There were no uncorrected misstatements, no disagreements with management. Management did provide us with a representation letter dated December 23rd. We're unaware that management consulted outside accountants, auditors, et cetera. Under other significant matters, findings, or issues, there were 2 items in special revenue funds, in the 4-H fund and in fire rescue tax fund, where there was over budgeted amounts. The Fire and Rescue Fund was a result of collecting more than what had been anticipated. They were not deemed to be a finding, but they are important enough to tell you. The county has to monitor that more closely. There were a couple of technical errors in the Medicaid program. Those have been communicated to those folks, and they have responded back, and it's included in your audit report as well in the bigger binder. Under other matters, et cetera, there's a new GASB statement, just like 101 came out this year, that when I mentioned Exhibit 1 earlier, the big difference between Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 3 in your audit report, where general fund, it is your general fund, but the general fund is the way you see it, and on Exhibit 1, they changed that over to a business type activity, i.e. on the general fund balance sheet, there's no fixed assets, debt, et cetera. On Exhibit 1, they convert that and put all that stuff on it. And as a result, it looks more like a business type activity. They're going to change the format of that pretty dramatically for 6/30/26, and they're going to change your management discussion and analysis, which is the first part of your report before you actually get to Exhibit 1, pretty dramatically. So if you actually read through the front page or first part of your audit report, there's a lot of summary data that compares current year and prior year with a lot of explanations in that. So it's really, if you're, whether you're financially astute or not, it gives you a lot of good information comparing year over year and why there were changes. So I'd encourage you to read that. When you flip over to page 5, what we attempt to do is put some of these key numbers in the audit report in here, and then put the 4 prior year audit numbers beside it. And then also we do a couple of analyses where we're taking percentages to give you a good feel for it. I played with this fund balance and they didn't change it, so it's my fault. This first number, this 41,231, should be further down where you see fund balance in your general fund at 36,514,745. That's the number you ended up with. Now, when I say I played with it, I was trying to do some calculations and I didn't change my Excel spreadsheet, so I'm sorry. Then you see unavailable fund balance at $7,684,000, restricted at $8.3 million. Total general fund expenditures, including transfers. And the reason we included transfers this time is because of the large transfer you had out for the school building, which was a $10 million transfer out. And that had a big impact on the overall fund balance. And that's why when we get down further, I'll show you the big drop. Then fund balance available at 40.02. You see the drop, same result. Unassigned fund balance, 28.1. Unassigned fund balance as a percentage, 33.56. Revenues over and under expenses before other financing sources. And so that would mean before the transfer out that we're talking about on the school. So you actually had a positive operating income, if you will, before the big transfer out of $3.7 million. Solid waste had a gain of $184,000, and the water districts had a loss of $556,463. Total fixed assets in your water fund at $90,637,000. Accumulated depreciation at $36.5, and then the cash there at $13,072,000. Cash in your general fund, you can see the big drop there, $32,367,000. Water districts at $13,072,000, solid waste at $1,742,000, and other governmentals at $26.7 million. There you see the general fund. You compare it to the prior year where there was a significant drop because of that education transfer. And the water district's net position and net position of your solid waste. You skip down to your property tax rates, which are the same except for that 21 year. And then you see the collection percentages, which are good, and then collection percentage excluding motor vehicles. And then you see your property valuation, your levy amount, and total debt. And you can see where the debt has declined over the 5 years shown here from 51.7 to 34.7, about a $20 million decline. And you can see on page 6, you add total general fund revenues at $76 million and total general fund expenditures at $72.3 for rounding purposes. On page 7, you can see your total fund balance and restricted and committed there in red. You see the drop in your fund balance available. And then you can see the group weighted average there at 50.67 for the prior year.
And again, just to reiterate, that big drop in available fund balance is a result of us transferring that $10 million grant match for the new school over to the Building Capital Project Fund.
Well, that's interesting.
Woo-wee.
Washington's not paying their bill.
Said, let it be light.
Sorry about that. Sorry about
All
that.
good, all good. So on the top of page 8, you see there your unassigned fund balance. And on the bottom, you see your analysis of revenues over and unexpenses before transfers for the 3 funds shown. And then on page 9, you see your total cash balances and fund balances there. The total cash is 73.9 and fund balance is 104.4. And then on the bottom, you see your property tax rates with the group weighted average, almost paralleling that. And then the collection percentage on page 10 compared to your group weighted average. And then the the debt analysis there by percentage, with business type activities there being by far the largest, with the limited obligation bonds at 69%. But as we mentioned earlier, I think your debt over that 5-year period just dropped about 20 million, which is a really healthy number. Breakdown of your general fund revenues on page 11, where ad valorem taxes make up the majority there at 54.73. And then the bottom shows the big three, which is public safety, human services, and education. Then on page 12, it has that finding that I mentioned. It's technically not an audit finding, but it is something you have to respond to the LGC for that 4-H and the fire and rescue tax fund over budget amounts. Again, the main thing you hire us as an independent audit firm to do is issue an opinion on the financial statements as a whole. We issue an unmodified report, which is a good report. As you read through the audit report, I'm happy to answer any questions you've got of me, not just tonight, but anytime. Just feel free to give me a call, and I appreciate you allowing our firm to do the audit.
Any questions of, at the presentation? Anything else, Anita, that you would like to add to that?
I think I heard the board loud and clear when they said that we needed to go out on bids. So I'll just let you know that we'll be going out on bids next couple of months for audit services. Certainly have been very pleased with your firm's work and hope you will respond. But we're just trying to keep everybody honest on making sure we're getting the best price out there.
Part of the process.
Part of the process. So thank you very much.
Just since there's a lot of talk about the fund balance and where we're at, that number, according to your graph here, is 33.56, and the board's goal is 35%. So we're still
Right.
a little bit under.
So that number, I would say, and I think Mr. Thompson would agree with me, is pretty skewed because the way you calculate that is you divide your fund balance to get the percentage. You divide your available fund balance by your total expenditures, and it includes transfers.
Okay.
And we had that big $10 million transfer in there, which really skewed our percentage number for available fund balance. So if you remove that 10 million and kind of normalize our expenditure number, it brings our available fund balance number to more of a 38%
38.
amount.
Okay.
You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Have a
Thank you
safe
very
trip.
much. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is the Mideast Regional Digital Inclusion Plan. Jamie? It's been a while since you've been here with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. Good evening. I'm here to present the Mideast Region Digital Inclusion Plan to you all. Thank you for having me this evening. So the Mideast Commission was funded for this plan by Band NC, which stands for Building a New Digital Economy in North Carolina, which is under the North Carolina State University. Band NC's goal is to equip counties and regions with the tools to build more digitally equitable communities, and they provide technical assistance and planning capacity to support every county in developing and implementing a digital inclusion plan. We did ours as a regional plan to include all 5 counties in the Mideast region. We developed a steering committee to guide the planning process. We had a diverse range of participants on that committee. In total, there were 99 committee members from across the region. I just want to recognize the committee members that served from Beaufort County. We had Sue Squires with Economic Development. From the board, we had John Rebholz, who is then replaced by Randy Walker. Thank you for your service, sir. From the chamber, we had Catherine Glover and Robin McKeithen. From the Cooperative Extension, Cassidy Woodwitch. A faith-based partner, the Cornerstone Community Program, we had Lavakina Grimes. We had Dr. Stacy Gerard, who was previously with Beaufort County Community College. We had private sector, Carver Machine Works, Lindsay Crisp. We had Deb Bauer from the Grace Martin Harwell Senior Center, and Amy Springs from Social Services. So we appreciate the service of all of those people. The committee met 7 times between August 2024 and May 2025. The meetings were hybrid and meaning we were in person and also had a virtual option. They were usually 2 to 2.5 hours in duration, and we communicated by email in between. We used the North Carolina Department of Information Technology's Digital Equity Survey as the public survey for the planning process. Committee members helped gather those surveys from the public, and we got a total of 389 residents to respond. We also had 3 public open houses and 2 focus groups held to obtain additional public input around digital inclusion priorities and needs in local communities. So there was 1 event in each county, including an open house in Beaufort County. And public input was a strong driving factor in the development of goals, objectives, implementation strategies, and priority projects. A high-level overview of the plan. We start out with the introductory sections about member governments, the executive summary, the introduction, reviewing the planning process, and reviewing digital inclusion planning. The vision statement for the plan is a digitally inclusive Mideast region where every individual has equitable access to affordable and reliable internet, digital skills training, essential devices and support services, fostering economic growth, education, and quality of life for all communities. The mission statement, North Carolina's Mideast region is dedicated to bridging the digital divide by ensuring that every resident, regardless of background, demographics, geography, or socioeconomic status, has equitable access to essential technology and skills needed to thrive in the digital age. By leveraging local partnerships and resources, we will provide broadband infrastructure, affordable, high-quality internet access, digital skills programs, essential devices, and support services that empower our community members to overcome barriers, enhance educational and economic opportunities, and improve their quality of life. Together, we strive to build connected and inclusive communities where every individual has the tools and opportunities to fully participate in the digital economy and society. We have a data section where we review both state and national digital inclusion data, as well as county and regional specific data. We review broadband infrastructure in the region, emphasizing that it's a necessary utility. Many recent projects have extended fiber broadband infrastructure to unserved areas, but there are still many rural areas in the region that have no options for high-speed internet service. I will say that Beaufort County is looking better than a lot of the other counties in that infrastructure area. It's imperative that every household, business, and organization in the region is served with reliable internet service capable of at least 200 megabytes per second download and 20 megabytes per second upload speeds. And once all addresses are served, areas that are currently served by cable infrastructure should be upgraded to fiber. This map is a snapshot in time that shows the level of service for all of the populated hexagons here in the map. So the darkest green has 100% service, and then as it goes down in the color scale, the lighter green has less, and then the white, it has population in that hexagon, but there's no service. The black is where it's just no population. So there have been improvements since this came out with some of the CAB grants finishing up, and there will be additional improvements with the BEAD grant. So Beaufort County is getting pretty close up to 100% service. I think it's at about 97. Overview of cell tower infrastructure in the region. There's still many rural areas in the region that have lack of reliable cellular phone service. We know this is an issue in a lot of the rural parts of Beaufort County. The recent switch to 5G technology exacerbated this problem in rural areas. Cellular or hotspot-based access is the only way many residents can afford to access the internet, and it's imperative that every household, business, and organization in the region is served with adequate cellular signal. Part of digital equity is ensuring that all homes, businesses, and organizations have access to infrastructure, but if everyone had access to broadband and cellular infrastructure, would that solve the digital divide? The answer is no, because residents also need to be able to afford the service, they need devices to access the service, and they need the skills to use the devices. Affordability, even in areas where there is adequate infrastructure, many residents can't afford to connect. The cancellation of the Federal Affordable Connectivity Program in 2024 exacerbated that issue. Device access, many residents are unable to afford the devices they need to access the internet. Some community institutions offer device lending or gifting programs, but in many areas, demand exceeds available devices. And K-12 students usually have a device they can utilize throughout the school year. It's imperative that this funding for student device access is maintained in all districts. That's just an estimate of the households with no device. So in Beaufort County, we're looking at close to 2,400 households without access to a device. Public access locations, public Wi-Fi locations are an important part of the strategy to close the digital divide. That can include drive-up locations as well as locations that have computers available and staff on hand to assist. Locations can also be outfitted with backup satellite connections to serve the community in the event of infrastructure damage resulting from a natural disaster. This website, MideastRegionWiFiMap.com, you can go and see all of the available public access sites. Digital skills training. As job applications, government benefits, healthcare access, and other essential functions transition to online formats, many residents still do not know how to use a computer for even the most basic tasks. This represents a dire gap in public education. Some groups are at a higher risk of having digital skills gaps, including low-income workers, reentry populations, seniors, and veterans. While there are opportunities for digital skills education in the region, the needs far outweigh the availability of digital skills educators, and it's important that programs are sustained and expanded to meet the vast digital education needs of the region. And just to give a shout out to the community college with their Digital Bridge program. It's definitely one of the best, if not the best program in the region. So they're doing great work there in the digital skills space. And all of those services, as the board knows, but not everybody in the public might not know, all of those services through the Digital Bridge program at Beaufort County Community College are free. And then we did asset mapping. Our categories of support were device access, digital skills and technical support, public devices and internet, digital inclusion funding, and other. And those were based on NTIA definitions. So we did that asset mapping for regional and statewide, and also for local organizations by county. And then we have goals, objectives, and implementation actions. So this just shows the goals in the interest of time, but the committee spent a lot of time developing detailed objectives and implementation actions under each of these goals. Our access to devices goal is to increase the number of residents in the Mideast region who have access to an affordable device that meets their needs and allows them to fully participate in the digital landscape. Affordability, increase access to low-cost or no-cost broadband across the Mideast region through stipend or subsidy programs and services. Availability, improve and increase broadband connectivity throughout the Mideast region to provide residents and businesses access to reliable high-speed broadband service. Digital skills, develop technology support and educational programming that meets a variety of needs and accommodates all skill levels, empowering community members to gain the necessary skills to fully participate in the digital world. And implementation resources, build structure and organization to support long-term digital inclusion success and to empower partners to create their own digital inclusion programs and partnerships. Then we developed priority project profiles, which we tried to make as grant-ready as possible, including project profiles for a device access program, device repair and technical support program, internet subsidy program, cell tower infrastructure expansion, improving the quality of broadband networks, resiliency backup networks, broadband infrastructure expansion, public access locations, digital skills training, workforce development program integration, advocacy coalition, coalition of churches, digital skilling coalition, implementation resources portal, and public informational portal. And then we just have appendices including list of committee members, public survey and public event results, and the weighting scoring process we did for developing those project profiles. I believe the board has a copy of the plan in your packets. A copy is available on the Mideast Commission website, mideastcom.org. I've got a hard copy here with me if anybody wants one. I'd be glad to answer any questions, but we're asking the board to consider adopting the plan tonight. Adopting the plan doesn't commit you to any money or anything like that. We hope that the plan would help the county if you all choose to apply for grants in any of these categories, or if the community college does, or any partner, like any nonprofit organizations in the county can also feel free to use this plan to support their grant applications. Also just want to plug that we have an implementation committee that is meeting virtually monthly, and any community organizations that are interested in being in this digital inclusion space and participating on that committee can contact me at that email and phone number. And I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions from the commissioners?
Well, I don't have questions, but I have a statement.
Okay.
Well, this is one side of socialism that you just presented. Nowhere in my Bible, my North Carolina Constitution, nor my federal Constitution does it say any of the things that are advocated in this program, like the access to affordable, reliable internet, digital skills training, and these are necessary things that are to be provided to everybody. And that the government is to do this. We've already dumped several $1 million in Beaufort County into providing additional internet. And this is not something that government should be doing. It is another step into socialism where government is going to provide things to you and they're telling you that it's your right to have this. And then after this, the providing of free services, even talking about that is a serious problem for me because we're entering into another social program like welfare where people can simply come in and apply and the taxpayer is going to pay for it. What people need to understand is everything that's advocated here in this digital equity, does that sound like something else that you've been dealing with? That everything that's advocated in here is to be paid by you, the taxpayer. The money is going to come out of your pocket to do this. There's a whole industry out there that provides all of these services in many different ways to many different people. To advocate for cell towers in a period of time when someone is providing satellites around the earth that can provide these services to you right off the satellite is totally wrong. Government is trying to become the decider of how industry is going to move forward. We need to leave industry alone and let the marketplace decide how it moves forward. You're going to get lower prices. You're going to get lower taxes out of this. And I would also point out another thing about advocating for the internet and advocating for this digital world. We are in the very beginning of educational institutions, thinkers, psychologists telling us that giving young children these electronic devices is not good for them. There are a lot of schools in which digital devices are banned up until the 8th, 9th, and 10th grade, and they should be because they don't help children to learn. Learning is a logical process. I have people who work for me who have been through 2 years of college, and if you ask them what 8 times 9 is, they can't tell you unless they get their cell phone out because they've never been trained to think. This is another step in getting everyone on the internet so the government can suddenly tell you what to do. Remember COVID in Australia? When they were in certain parts of Australia, You had to check in every day on the internet, and you had to show your face on the internet. This is not something that the public needs. We need to leave this to private industry and let private industry decide.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I would like to echo just one sentiment that Hood did mention. And it bears repeating because it makes total sense. Government is large. It's huge. It's massive. We have the power to tax people to death. I mean, literally. We have police power. And that we are wise and that we don't do that we try to limit, some of us try to limit the scope of government. It's very important. Now, I will argue that government can't give back to you what it hasn't already taken from you. And the internet is important. I agree with that. But when government gets involved in internet, even through nonprofits, we just aren't efficient. We're not going to be as efficient as businesses, and now we're competing with those businesses. And if I would argue that we have a superior standing in order to get things done because we've got money. We don't even have to operate at a profit. All we have to do is tax more and more and more. One of the problems I have, a lot of times when we get these programs and we start them and we don't have to pay any money to get it done, eventually it falls back on the local taxpayer to come in and shore up the shortfall. And that bothers me. So I've been in this a long time. I've seen where nonprofits can be the bane of oversight. It's hard to perform oversight on nonprofits, and some elected officials don't want to perform any oversight. So while I understand we need internet and we need it as far-reaching as possible, is it really government's place to do that when the private sector is already starting to do it? I think Hood alluded to Elon Musk providing satellite digital access all over the world. I don't know if that's the answer. But there are answers coming, and I think the private sector is just going to do a better job than government can do.
The only response I want to make is just to clarify that I wasn't suggesting that the county would oversee any nonprofits, just if there were any nonprofits that wanted to use this plan to support their grant applications, that they were able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Any other commissioner?
Mr. Chairman,
Brian?
just for clarification for the board, North Carolina general statutes do not allow counties to be in the internet business. So we are not in that business, and we are not allowed to be in that business.
Motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Jamie, if you have the time, if you will stay and hear the next presentation,
Yes, sir.
because you may end up being involved in it.
Okay. Yes, sir, I'll be happy to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is on Tyson Point project. Mr. Todd Miller. And Todd, if you have, is Heather with you? Is she going to help you, or are you going to do it all?
I'll make her come up.
Okay, okay. Welcome, welcome.
It's a PowerPoint on. Right. My name is Todd. I'll catch up on that. My name's Todd Miller, Senior Advisor for the North Carolina Coastal Federation, which is a nonprofit that works to try to protect and restore the North Carolina coast. One of the programs that we are involved in is helping property owners that have erosion problems around our tidal creeks and sounds deal with those problems. And we've actually received support from the North Carolina General Assembly to work with those property owners. And one of them was Ms. Heather Steele, who has property on Jordan Creek, just south of Belhaven. We did a successful project there, and she was so impressed by that she asked for us to look at the erosion issues that were occurring along with is locally known as Tyson's Point. If you know that area at all, there's an island now out in the mouth of Jordan Creek that shelters the creek from all the wave energy coming in out of the Punga River. So it's important in terms of the stability of shore fronts all around the creek. It also protects a designated primary nursery area that was designated by the Wildlife Resources Commission. So the creek's productivity for fisheries relates to that sheltered nature of the water body, and it's a very popular area for both recreational and commercial activities. Tyson Point, right there, fine. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't pull it. In a minute, I'll show you a few pictures just of the dramatic changes that have occurred along the point there. And we, over the course of the last year, have been talking with marine contractors about how we might address the erosion issues, and have come up with some tentative plans to do that. Of course, you know, we're a nonprofit. We have some funding from the North Carolina General Assembly to help with this, but in order to do a project, we're going to need to raise funding from mainly state sources. One of the organizations is the North Carolina Land and Water Fund. The other is the Division of Water Resources. Thank you very much. So this just gives you an idea of the current situation. Where Tyson's Point is, south of Belhaven, of course, Jordan Creek. All of Jordan Creek is a designated primary nursery area, and you'll see part of the reason for that is historically Tyson's Point really extended way down across the mouth of the creek, giving the creek a very sheltered environment there. Of course, currently the massive erosion that has occurred has removed a lot of that point, and the remnant part of the point is what we're referring to as Tyson's Point, the island. You can see the speed at which the island is disappearing. It probably won't be there in another decade or so if nothing's done to protect it. By the way, that island is in private ownership, and Dick Leach is the owner. He's here today. So we've come up with a preliminary design, and you know, at this point, we're trying to figure out, you know, where to get the resources to actually protect the island. The nature of how we would go about it is what's called a living shoreline. Basically, it'd be an offshore breakwater that's put around the island that allows the marshes to regrow there. And there are hundreds of these types of erosion control devices now installed along the coast of North Carolina. They've been looked at very closely in terms of their success rate, and they've performed very well. They create good habitat for fish. You get a lot of oyster growth on the rocks. The project that Heather has done has actually recruited some oysters even, you know, further back up into the creek. A similar project we were involved in the town of Oriental. They were concerned about the loss of a peninsula that was off of Whitaker's Creek that sheltered the creek. You know, not only the marina that you see there, but lots of home sites up the creek. In this picture, Pamlico Sound is out to the right of the project area, and then the creek is up to the left. That's been in place now for several years. The town was able to raise the resources to install it, and we helped them with the fundraising on that. So I'm not here to ask you for any money. I would like to ask for your support for the project that we can use in seeking either state or federal dollars to construct it. There is a source of funding. The General Assembly gives funds to the Division of Water Resources for water resource grant. Local governments can apply for grants up to about 200,000 for projects of this nature. If the county is willing to be the applicant, we would be willing to provide all the materials, everything to try to make the job as easy as possible. As a nonprofit, we're not in a position to ask for those funds. So we would ask you to consider allowing us to work with your staff to have that submitted. If the funding is approved by the Division of Water Resources, the grant would actually come to the county, and the county would have to administer the funds. We would provide much of any help that the county asked in terms of doing that. Paying for the project would probably involve just one or two payments to contractors upon the receipt of good reports, so that and verification that the work has been conducted according to the grant. The timing for doing that request would be before June to make the request, and then they actually have a fairly quick turnaround in terms of funds that they've already been allocated by the General Assembly to give to local governments for projects of this nature. So
I have a question. About how far is Tyson's Point from the public facility? boat
Five
launch?
nautical miles.
5 nautical miles
Yes, sir.
to the north?
I actually think it's east, northeast probably. It's just very close. You're talking about the project that they're currently doing in town, correct?
Yeah.
At the end of the bridge.
Well, how far is Tyson Point from like Windmill Point?
Are you asking about Wrights Creek where the Wildlife Commission has the boat
Yeah.
ramp? Okay.
We're sort of in the middle of both. And when I asked my son, who's a very avid fisherman, he said that that's where all the fishermen put in, either in town or over there, and a lot of them congregate right here at this creek only because of the magnitude that they're able to find and fish and all different kinds of things there. It's just, like you said, it's a primary nursery area, so
Okay.
it seems to be the go-to place.
So, again, no action, the island will be gone. I should have mentioned that the property owner, Dick Leach, and his family will sign a conservation easement on that land and don't plan to develop it. I mean, under the easement, it would have to be left in its natural
Yeah,
condition. And they're donating that.
We have
so-
a copy of that letter. I guess my question to Brian, is this one of the projects that we would use Mideast to try to get a grant
I mean, typically, we would go through the Mideast on.
through the Mideast?
Such a grant.
Because we don't have anybody on staff that actually writes
Right. Yeah.
grants.
And, we would be willing to provide, we actually have a recent project with the town of Morehead City that we basically, did the staff work for the town. They submitted it and have administered it, but through this source, it has, I think the Mideast Commission probably would qualify to be an applicant.
They would apply in our name. They're our consultant.
That would be
So
great,
you would
yeah.
be their consultant
Right.
if we do this,
Yes.
and provide them with the information, so they'd have very little overhead
Right.
involved in this, because you already know what all the answers are. I don't have a problem supporting this project on the basis it's not really going to cost the county any money.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so I think the question there is, I believe the Mideast Commission could be a primary applicant themselves.
You think so?
Yes, that would be my understanding. I mean, typically if a local government is eligible, then a council of government is eligible. So, I mean, if the county would, we can have those conversations, and if it's easier for the COG just to do it and handle it all, I mean, they would.
Well, that's fine. I mean, they just need our endorsement, though, in order to make it work.
They would probably need a letter of support if they
Yeah.
did. If they were the applicant, and if they could be the applicant, we'd need to research that. If they could, then they would probably seek a letter of support from the county.
At this point in time tonight, are you looking primarily just for a recommendation of support, letter of support?
Right, and we would draft a letter for you to consider in terms of the letter of support. And, and I guess, that the county is willing to work with us to figure out how to apply for these funds.
So I think what I'm hearing the board say, and you may still want to take a vote on that, is that we would have a conversation with the Mideast to see if that's something they can be the primary applicant on, or whether it would be advantageous for the county to be the primary applicant on. I mean, because sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, can you bring that back next month, Brian? And I think we could do the letter of support all at the same time.
That sounds great.
But anyway, thanks for your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
much.
Okay, the next presentation is on the Zion Shelter and Kitchen. Mr. Darwin?
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Yes, thank y'all for inviting me. But I want you to know I'm asking for money, okay? I'm asking for money. But I want to let you know that on the half, I thank y'all for the money that you already give us. You give us $12,000 every year. But since I've taken over, we have changed the way we do things. We no longer just let them come in at night, at 10 o'clock at night and have a bed, and the next morning we put them out by 7 o'clock.
I left this here.
We don't do that anymore. I believe that everybody has to have some skin in the game, and they need to work. So we have changed the way we do that. All of our men that are at the shelter, they work. They have their own jobs. I do not take no for an answer. When they say that they that they can't go to work because they need some shoes, I tell them they're having by 5 o'clock. Okay, because they need to work. They do pay me $25 a week, what I hold in escrow for them, so they will have extra funds when they take and move out of the house. There is no staff with them except for me during the day. There's no need to having a staff because if they do something wrong, I'm gonna put them out. And I'm gonna do that because we don't want to mess it up for anybody else. I come to ask money mainly tonight so we run programs. We don't just take and sit back and say, we're gonna just give you this and give you that. We don't do that. You have to be a part of the program, and you have to be willing to take and make change in your life. Giving them a bed at night and a lunch at 11 o'clock every day, we're not doing anything for them. We have to help them to get back on their feet and help them move towards not, as in words of Commissioner Hood, that they don't have to depend on the county and the state. So that's what we do now. We try to make sure and ensure that we can get them up on their feet, give them that hand up so that we can take and help and get them out and back into housing. One of the reasons I'm coming tonight is for an extra $12,000 to take and fund our feeding. We feed about 100 people every day, and out of the food truck, which we're getting ready to move into our own restaurant area. We serve about 26,000 meals in a year through the Zion Shelter, and through the Zion Kitchen, excuse me. I hate to say shelter because shelter is a bad word, a dirty word in this county. Because you say shelter, whoa, everybody's going to go crazy about that. So we just give it this name. We have a Zion house, and we have a Zion Kitchen. Okay, that's what we call those things. We have trimmed back. We now are part of the food bank of the Albemarle. So we get food from the food bank of the Albemarle once a month. We make our menus through there first. Then we add extra things in as we can. But we use the food from the food bank first to take and save money. And we are going to be doing programming at the building, since we have a big building now. So we know that some of them get funds, but we need to do financial literacy. What's going on with their funds? Why Alcoholics Anonymous? Make sure we get them in Alcoholics Anonymous. We're gonna partner with the Agape, so that they can have mental health services. They told me that they didn't like to go into the Agape for mental health services because when somebody comes from the back and call them by name, they said they all know that they do mental health. So they didn't want to go in for that. So we're going to do some mental health services down the street also in our new facility. So, we do a lot with the money that you give us. We try to make sure that the money that you give us, we mainly use that for food costs. My salary is actually funded between two nonprofits so that we don't have a drain on one nonprofit to take and do that. And I just really need some help. I know that, again, y'all give us $12,000. I just need a little bit more to get me through this year. You can say you can only use it for food. You can tell me whatever I can only use it for. Now, I do know that we have been operating the emergency, and I'm going to call it shelter, excuse me. It is the warming station. We have to change the name to a warming station. So we're doing a warming station, which is, we had 60 people at the hotel during this bad weather. None of that came from it came from taxpayer money, but they individually gave it to the shelter to be able to pay for those rooms. So we had 35 rooms with 60 of our unsheltered or people that lost their heat and things like that. But we've been able to get them back out and back in homes or other places at this particular time. So I do ask for this money. I want you to know I'm a good steward of all your funds that you give us, and I'll answer any questions.
Any questions of Darwin? Okay, Randy?
Where's the address of this new building you're talking about?
Oh, it is 421 Bridge Street. It's right beside Clearpoint. Okay. We were blessed there was a lady that was the friend of the Zion Shelter, and she passed, so we was able to use that money to actually purchase that building. So now we won't have to add any extra costs to feeding. All we have to pay for is food because the building is paid for, and we will, and then we have a renter on the other side, and we hope to have another renter on one of the back side, so that will cover all of our utilities and things, so we don't have to increase our budget presently.
And there is a kitchen in that end of the building?
There is a kitchen. It's a former restaurant. And it has a sitting area for us to be able to do the programming that we're talking about with the financial literacy and those types of things. Because I do know that some of them get funds. So we need to figure out what are they doing with their funds and to help them be better citizens and be of their monies.
Yes.
Darwin.
Yes, sir.
You're getting $12,000 now. You would like to get another $12,000.
Yes, sir.
Considering that, would you sign an agreement with the county so that the county can perform oversight on the money that we do give you?
Of the 24,000? Because I'm asking
Yes,
for
12 or 24, regardless.
I don't care.
36.
I just want to spend the money to get food
Yeah.
to feed the people. I mean, that's just you can provide whatever oversight that you want. I mean, they want the receipts and they pay for it. If you want to do that, that's fine too. We just want to feed the people and get them back on their feet with programming. We do them no good by just giving them a meal and don't give them any legs to walk with, you know what I'm saying, to take and go out and make themselves better. We have to change that mindset of just giving and not able to take and get them back on their feet. You can't give and not be able to take and get them
Not
back
only
on
give
their
them a
feet.
fish, but teach them how to fish.
Yes, sir. And I'm that kind of person. I'll teach them how to fish, and I'll tell them what I got to tell them too.
Darwin.
Yes, sir.
How many clients do you have at the moment, would you estimate?
Well, in the house, we serve probably 15 to 20 I get that comes in there a week because we have limited space. I have to serve them if they come off the street. So I'm there too. So if somebody comes in off the street and says, Mr. Darwin, I need some help, I'm going to give them that help. If they need to get their social security card, if they need to get their, we have a lot of times they got to have an ID. If they don't have their IDs, they can't do anything like that. So I don't just serve the ones that live in a house. If they come off the street and I'm there, they ring the doorbell and I let them in, and we try to help as many as we can.
How many people over the last year would you say that you have seen and helped them and not seen them again?
That would be about 20, 25 that was actually in the house, and we were able to take and get them back into the community or into some other kind of housing. Housing is our biggest thing in this county. Low to moderate income housing is hard, and so we can't always throw the men out. So that's why sometimes we don't turn it over as fast, because if we turn them out and put them back on the street, they may revert and have the same issues and things. But we do serve them. They can come right off the street, and I'll take and help them, because I've had some to come in, and they said if they had a one-way bus ticket or if they could go home, I said, get your mom on the phone. I called him, said, you say he can come back home to you? Yes, ma'am. He seems like he's gotten better. I said, your baby's on the way. I'm gonna give him a one-way bus ticket. You keep him. And normally they'll just laugh and they'll say, okay, I'll keep him. I said, you keep him, one-way bus ticket. So, we do those kind of things because they're off our streets. They're not on somebody else's street because they're home. That guy went to Oklahoma. He rode the bus to Oklahoma, and a one-way bus ticket is not that expensive. I think that was $130-some. He spent more time on the bus than he would anything. Any more questions?
Anyone else? Okay, Jerry?
Have you made this presentation to the city?
I'm heading there right now. Really. Y'all's was switched, so I'm heading there right now.
Okay.
Yes.
And my next question is,
They don't believe I can get any money out of you.
okay, Brian and the finance officer, where are we concerning his request?
We are waiting on a board action.
We have some funds for makeup funds, I can't think of the right word, like $100,000 that we put into the budget for emergency issues.
You're talking about contingency.
Yeah, that's the right word.
I think it was 25,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
have we used that?
No, sir.
Well, then I move that we take the money out of contingency. The problem, Darwin, here's the real problem you have that makes me support you.
What's that, sir?
You have all the right answers. You don't have really bad answers, and this is a big shift and a big change with the way things have been run over there.
It is, very much so.
Yeah.
Some of them don't like it, but it's okay. We can all get through it. I mean, right is right and wrong is wrong. And as you say, taxpayer money is taxpayers' money.
Well, yeah, and this is one-time event, so we'll see how you do.
And you see how we do that. Well, now I want you to remember me when appropriation comes down there. Go ahead and double it. But I'll come back next year this time if I need to ask for some more.
I'm gonna second.
What, you want to put on the mat?
12,000.
Okay, 12,000. You okay with that? Okay, got a motion to second. All those in favor?
Well, I just got one thing to say. Darwin,
Yes, sir.
I want to see an agreement where we can perform oversight, even on just the 12th additional thousand.
I'll make that a part of my motion.
That's fine.
we
And
have a
Hood,
right-
I think you created a
I'll
monster.
continue
Yeah.
with the second.
Okay. Everybody's in agreement then?
I have no problem with that.
Okay, everybody in favor of the motion, raise your right hand.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Thank you, Darrell.
I'm going to the city.
Okay, the next item of business is public comments. We have a total of 16 on here, and our policy is we allow 30 minutes, up to 30 minutes. So what I would ask that you do is that we, each one that comes up here, you're limited to 3 minutes. So if you can get through in a minute, that's fine, and we'll just keep rolling. And when the 30 minutes is up, we'll cut it off. So, and it looks like maybe one has been marked through on here. So if you don't mind, if you can kind of form a little line right here in the middle, we'll try to move through this and get as many people as possible up here. The first one I have, and I'm just going to use first name, is it Alex? And the time will be on the screen. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but.
I don't want to take a lot of y'all gentlemen's time. I appreciate y'all hearing me. On May 30th, 2025, my youngins got snatched from me. And my rights were extremely and heavily violated. I would ask that there would be some kind of bigger oversight over DSS. And that's the main point I want to ask. I don't want to go into great detail about other people's stories, but I know my stories. My wife and my beautiful mother and my grandmother are here standing with me today. And I want to tell y'all fellas, there's something wrong going on. I ain't been able to speak in court. I ain't been allowed to tell my story in any way, shape, or form. And I love my babies and my wife loves my babies. So if y'all would please do something to do more insight on DSS, I would heavily appreciate it. Ain't much more I can say. I'm a carpenter, not a public speaker.
Let me ask you.
I'm sorry. We're not.
They can't see this. Can you raise your banner up a little bit? There's a
Show them our
Chiron
babies.
in the middle. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Everybody needs to do that.
Appreciate
if
y'all,
you want to be seen.
appreciate y'all fellas hearing us tonight. And obviously there's probably 50-60% of the crowd here and trying to speak for this situation. Thank y'all.
Okay. We'll move to the next one. The second one looks like Mark II. I can't read it. It looks like it's been Mark II. Courtney. And then the next one is Holly. If you'll kind of move on up.
Good evening. How y'all doing today? On October 23rd, 2017, my kids left for four of my oldest children left for school and never came back. I got a phone call from the Department of Social Services in Beaufort County with no explanation on why my kids left, just that I need to come in for a meeting. I took my two twin boys who are not of school age with me to that meeting. They asked if someone could watch them while they conducted this meeting. When they got halfway through reading the paragraph, I stopped them and said, "Did you just take my twins because I'm never going to see them again?" Since that day, they have not been in my house, along with my other children. I have 7 beautiful children. When my second oldest son turned 18, who's in the back of this building right now, he came home. They also held me in 30 days contempt of court for my court order because when my son ran away from the house that they put him in, he ran home. From running home, they said, and I was not supposed to have contact with them. They put me in 30 days contempt of court. I did those 30 days proudly because I will never turn my back on my children, and I will always open my door for my children. I'm asking you guys today, please make changes and bring my children home. Bring all these people's children home. Because it is not fair that Beaufort County Department of Social Services is ripping good, honest families apart. And they've been doing it to me since 2017. I can only imagine how long they have been doing it and how long they're going to continue doing it until you guys help put a stop to it.
Okay. Holly.
My name is Holly Richards, and since 2015, I've been dealing with Lenore County Social Services. They wrongfully took all 4 of my kids. The first 2 were in Lenore County's custody, were sexually abused for 2 years, and then they ended up adopting them out. And then my other 2 children have now been taken when they were 3 weeks old and 14 months old. When I was wrongfully arrested for a charge I didn't commit and put in jail for 24 days. And my kids were put into foster care where they're still at, and they're trying to grant guardianship. And I have done everything the court's asked, and I just ask y'all to please take that into consideration and please help us get our children back. I love my kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brittany? And following Brittany is Megan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here because my children were wrongfully taken from me. My 2 girls were taken from me in December of, it's kind of hard to talk about, I'm sorry. I just know so much. They were taken in December of 2017. My husband was wrongfully convicted of something that he did not do. And they were taken from us, and we tried to work with DSS. They would not work with us. And my parents are here as well, and they wouldn't even.
I'm a problem. They took them from me after they took them from her, and then they put them in, they took them to Virginia to another family to let them adopt them. I don't like that. That's exactly what they done. After they took them from her, they let me take them for a week, and then they took them away from me and did that. I don't.
Please have looked into for all the families here, please have us reunited with our children, please.
I'm Megan Anderson. I aged out of foster care, so I've been dealing with this for quite some while. So they've got 3 of my kids. I got a 3-year-old, I got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old. My 3-year-old has been adopted out. They told me if I relinquished my rights for my middle daughter, that they would not have a case against my youngest one. Here we go 2 years later. I've held down a job. They've cut my hair every 3 months for the last 2 years. I've done all the parenting classes they've asked. I've done everything. I work 40, 50 hours a week, even more, to maintain my household and take care of my daughter. That's not even in my custody. All the clothes on her back, I do supply for her. They had now allowed the abuser that I was in a relationship with for 5 years get unsupervised visits after I have fought because I accidentally I popped positive for THC. I did, because it was a non-alcoholic beverage that I got from the tobacco store, and that's why they won't give me unsupervised. But they had Nancy Hill do my investigation when she was in my dad's wedding when he married my stepmom. So I know Nancy Hill personally. She was in my brother's wedding. And that's not a conflict. That's what I've had to deal with. The domestic abuse that I went through, and I left him. The DSS knows that, and I've done everything they've asked me to do. I've taken Cornerstone 3 times, which I've had a lot of people in my class in here. I have done Coastal Pregnancy Center 31 classes. I have came out of pocket and hired an attorney. Do you know how many attorneys that will not touch Beaufort County DSS because of how corrupt we are? Darren Day is the only one that will touch them. And if it weren't for my mom and my stepmom and my dad helping me to get this DSS attorney,
which was still ongoing. When they removed him, the 7 to 10 day hearing continued. I work, I go to school, and it's hard to do that and see my kids, which now they want me to take 2 days off work, which is 6 hours a week. I'm happy for when I get to see my baby. But I was in my lawyer's office hemorrhaging out after having my youngest one while I have this on recording, Nancy Hill, Letitia Bozeman, and Abby Williams in there. Abby Williams was my social worker growing up when I was in foster care. I aged out of foster care here in 2020. I went down to South Georgia. I wish I never came back. Because now I don't have 3 of my kids at home. Because of this DSS. I just want y'all to do what's right and go in and overlook a half of the cases that they take away from people. Matthew Jackson, I've been dealing with him for a long time. I've had to deal with him since I actually met him first face to face. And we talked out a thing where he placed me with a boyfriend when I was 16 years old. What do I look like at 16 years old living with a boyfriend? Because they didn't want to put me back in foster care. I am thankful that my daughter is placed with somebody that I do know, but they refuse to put her with my family. My aunt that's fought for her for 2 years, they won't put her with her. People that I've had to do my visits, that's appropriate. How are you going to deny a licensed foster care parent to do a visit, to supervise visit? She's not appropriate. That's what they say. But after I've fought tooth and nail to get my kids back, I hope y'all do something about them, please, and thank you.
Juanita. And after that is Johnny.
You guys all know me. I've been here before. I have practically begged this board to put DSS into compliance, asking for accountability. So now I'm going to show you what you pay for. This is just one of your social workers, Letitia Bozeman, that was involved in a drive-by shooting down in Louisiana. And until this year, they did not require background checks. This woman went to Greensboro after getting herself straight in Louisiana. She had domestic problems there linked to her address, which she then moved to Greenville, and she's had domestic calls to her address there. She has no children. But this is the woman that you guys just gave an award to for 5 years of stellar service. Now I'm going to tell you about Allison. This is a family I've dealt with that has broke my heart. Her grandparents has raised her. The mother, they let her see her when they could. They took this child saying her medication was incorrect. They went to the ER, they tested her blood. Her medication levels was correct. Her pharmacy records were correct. They were treating this child. They took this child out to church despite them being older and her being in a wheelchair and having numerous medical issues. She was clean, she was fed, she was healthy when DSS took her. Then, there's no facility that will take a child like Allison. She laid in a hospital bed over 2 months, where she then contracted pneumonia because they cannot get her up and do the things her grandparents did. She died under DSS care. Those grandparents are broken, so much to the point that when the grandmother tried to come here today, she is sick. Something needs to be done. You have the power. I've read you fund them, you pay for them. You pay for, our taxes paid for this girl's hospital stay. It has to stop. They are overreaching, they are overstepping, they are violating our parental and constitutional rights, and nobody is fighting back. You have the power to do something. They have blood on their hands. Everybody that helps them and funds them, you'll have blood on yours. I'm asking you to make it stop.
Johnny. Oh, okay. Is it Cheryl Taylor?
I am Cherry Tovar, and I again want to ask you to help change DSS in Beaufort County. I myself was bullied and threatened with removal from my father for simply visiting and being around my boyfriend's family who were accused of abuse. They had never had a hearing, they had never had any evidence of wrongdoing, yet they told my dad he was neglected, he was beaten, we knew this family and knew it wasn't true. While they had Chris, I couldn't see him, though him and I requested that talking was limited. They took his cell phone paid by his parents. He would have to even email me from school as DSS isolated him so much. When Chris tried to assert his rights, he was moved around, taken from school altogether, was placed in locked facilities with no hearings or orders from a judge. This has to stop. Change has to come. There are other children. Chris was abused and neglected in DSS care, not his parents. This agency is supposed to protect kids, but they don't. They are supposed to follow the law, but they don't. You have the authority to make them, to bring change. Why don't y'all?
Chris? Were you Chris? Okay. Are you coming up? You're not Chris? Okay. Sarah? And then the next one is Jessica.
Where do I see the time? On here?
It's up there.
Okay. My name's Sarah Lee. I'm a family integrity advocate. I've been helping families through child welfare and custody cases for the last 9, almost 10 years. I also had a hand in helping to write the Families First Preservation and Services Act, which modified the federal law to kind of help local county commissioners and state level Department of Social Services put more emphasis on reunification and front-loaded services. So if you get a chance to look into that law, it does apply to you guys, so please read up on it. Currently, we are looking at things like fighting back against the issues that are happening. I have a mom in the audience here that filed a constitutional challenge against access to medical records during child welfare investigations, which you guys might know is unconstitutional because we're presumed to be fit parents until a judge says so otherwise. If you never see a judge, then you still have that presumption of parental fitness. I'm going to encourage you guys really quick with some scripture because I noticed from some of the things that you're saying that some of you are my brothers in Christ. And this applies. And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast them all out that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but you made it into a den of thieves. Now, we applauded and cheered the young man that came up here and fed the homeless and housed the homeless. But we have to address services through social services that front loads reasonable efforts in order to prevent the removal of children. Y'all talked about it in a meeting, half your schools are empty. Well, they're probably in other states through foster care. If you run out of parents in this county for foster care people, then they're gonna be in other counties that you're gonna have to send these kids to. And these kids are your future. The kids that these guys are talking about are your future. I have one final just warning for you guys, because I'd like to offer through email some potential education and I don't like to say there's a problem without saying there's some ways that you can solve it. So I'll email those things to you. But Hogan v. Cherokee, all right? Hogan v. Cherokee pointed out that you guys create a social services board. You have the authority to do that. We have a gentleman who, Mr. Booth, is on that board. And you guys have the authority to oversee that board's responsibilities through general statutes, okay? The board has responsibilities over the DSS director. So in a roundabout way, you still have that chain of command and responsibilities. It's great that you might ask higher representation for oversight, but oversight has failed in North Carolina, considerably and miserably. So you guys are gonna have to take action on a local level to do this. I encourage you to learn about risk and protective factors about child abuse and about child abuse. I encourage you to listen and learn about parental rights and responsibilities as it applies to the Constitution. I offer all that, it's all online training. And then go to your board and see what you can do, okay? And then the board goes and sees what they can do on social services level. We have a massive failure across the state with social services. We're not paying them enough. We're not supporting them enough. We're depending upon the money that we're getting for these children, and that's got to change. I saw your last meeting. It looks like you guys have a heart for that collectively, and that made me so proud because I've spoken to other county boards across the state, blank, blind, won't hear anything, but it's hurting families. And if Hogan v. Cherokee comes to Beaufort County, it will bankrupt your county because you have enough parents in here to file civil suits to do that. And Cherokee County they were not able to pay half the lawsuits that came to them, and so it bankrupted them. They had no money to pay anything. The risk insurance said, we're not paying anything but half of this. And they said, well, we have no more money left. Can we make payments? So that can happen. But ultimately, then you're angering all the taxpayers because all the taxpayers have to pay those lawsuits. So I just want to kind of encourage you guys to take these complaints seriously, and I appreciate the time you've given me to speak.
Jessica?
If I can give this to clerk.
Yes.
This is really important information for families that are coming into child welfare and custody cases. If you guys can share that information, the courts and stuff in North Carolina put some of that together, and as an advocate, I put some of it together and helps them through a case.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Jessica Saxon. I'm a civil rights advocate from Washington, D.C. Last month, we were here and we delivered affidavits of criminal conspiracy to each and every one of you. I hope you had a chance to look over that. That was in direct relation to the Department of Social Services and several judges in this county. We went over a couple of things. One, that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, that no state, no county, no court has any authority to violate our constitutional protections. Timms versus Indiana, 2019, what they said was that the privileges and immunities of United States citizens are at a bare minimum, those that are enumerated within the Bill of Rights and the First and Amendments. Those are unable to be impaired. The Bill of Rights and the First and Amendments. We, in this county, are victims of individuals that are consistently having their rights and their privileges and their immunities that are violated. Another thing that we went over last month was 18 U.S.C. 242, that's deprivation of rights under the color of law. What that says is that anyone who does not allow for the privileges and immunities to stand, they violate that. Another thing is deprivation of rights under the color of law and the conspiracy to deprive. That's 18 U.S.C. 241. That's when two or more people conspire. I'm going to read something here. It's by Nancy Schaefer. Nancy Schaefer was a senator in Georgia in early 2000s. I'm going to read her words directly. What she said was that children are seized unnecessarily from families due to federal aid created in 1974. Titled the Adoption and Safe Families Act, it offers financial incentive to states that increase foster care and adoption numbers to receive these incentives and bonuses. Local CPS, Department of Social Services, agencies, they must find children. They must have children. Children are the commodity in order for these departments to exist. They must have more merchandise to sell. Funding is available when a child is placed in a foster home with strangers or placed in mental health facilities and medicated, usually against the parents' rights. Another thing that she said was that caseworkers and social workers are often guilty of fraud. She had been investigating this for years, and she exposed this. She said that they withheld and destroy evidence, and they seek to wrongfully terminate parents while being protected in state immunity. There's a huge bureaucracy made up of judges, appointed attorneys, guardian ad litem, social workers, state employees, court investigators, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, foster care parents, adoptive parents, and on, all who are searching for children to place in state custody for their job security. After she delivered this speech in Washington, D.C., 18 months and 2 days later, Nancy Schaefer was shot in the back of the head in her home while she slept. Because this is the type of information that our government doesn't want you as county commissioners to be made aware of. So we are all calling on, yes, you to act. I pray that you put this on the agenda for next month and guarantee that we will all be here again next month. I'm serving you with more affidavits of criminal conspiracy. This is almost a half a ream of paper. That's about 250 pages. You guys can all go through this again. These are all about the judges,
many of your social workers, as well as, unfortunately, your sheriff's department. That's another thing that we haven't talked about. I'm sure that your sheriff's department, I'm sure that they attempt to do the right thing. But when your sheriff's department goes out and they assist social services in the unlawful removal of children, there's your conspiracy. There's your 18 U.S.C. 241. That's the conspiracy to deprive of rights. In the event that kidnapping occurs, when you have deprivation of rights, there's 3 punishments. One is fines, one is penalty, prison, and one is death. So I pray and hope that you guys choose to do the right thing.
Angela. And after that is Pat.
My name is Angela Laughinghouse. I am one of them mothers. She's my daughter. She maxed out through the social services, fighting Abby Williams for a long time. It was just really hard to watch her and jump through hoops and not feeling like you were adequate, could meet their standards regardless of what you tried to do. And it was hard. My dad finally got her out of here and got her to Georgia, where she thrived and did really good. She wanted to move back, and I begged her, baby, please don't come back here to Beaufort County. They're going to take that baby. Please don't. Here I am today. I've lost my grandbabies.
Pat. Okay. Bonnie.
My name is Bonnie Lehman. My sister's 2 daughters got taken away from her in 2017. I've had to take trazodone because they got taken. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. That's okay.
Start over.
Thank you. My name is Bonnie Lehman. I'm here for my sister. Her daughters got taken away from her in 2017. And that was the biggest mistake. I'm so sorry. I can't do this.
You got it. Take a breath. You got it. Breathe.
All I gotta say is, please give her daughters back. Please. That's all I want. My nieces back. Thank you.
I happen to know where they are. They're in Virginia.
Brittany.
Yes, I'm Brittany Mannon. On June 25th, 2025, my daughter Lucy was taken from me without notice by DSS. Their reason being DSS stated alleged neglect due to the following: arrest of male father of my child in June 23rd. I was at home during all of this, nursing my child, not present during incident or arrest. June 24th, DSS came by the dwelling owned by his sister. Once in the home of his sisters, DSS performed a house assessment
A handwritten letter to DSS stating my residency at her home was to continue to be permanent. Also, in writing, her brother email would be considered a trespasser. I have stopped all contact along with a restraining order.
You have that?
No, that's in my folder. With Beaufort County. To concur, DSS has a past home inspections with minor alterations within Sonia's home. A written statement from homeowner for long-term residency, yet Lucy was still taken from me, all within an extremely short time frame of 48 hours. And I would just like for her to be returned home, where she belongs.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next item is the legislative updates, and we do not have our senator or our representative here. We're down to items for consent. Is there any item on there that you would like to pull? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the items for consent.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Is all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed?
Chairman, it's time for the break.
Okay. All right. We'll take our break, and we'll be back in 15. Okay, we're down to item number J1. That's the reimbursement for the Washington Elementary School. Anita.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm on page 190. This is actually reimbursement request number 14 for the Washington Elementary School project. We requested 2 reimbursements for the architect, Height & Associates. This will be the 12th reimbursement to the construction contractor, Wimco. The total request for this reimbursement is $3,092,546.40, and you can see the state share of that total that will be paid by the grant is the $2,497,850, and then our county share of this reimbursement is $594,697 rounded. We've got all the supporting documentations here. Mr. Height has reviewed and approved this reimbursement, as well as the school board. All of the supporting invoices are behind page 190, and I'll entertain any questions, but what we're seeking tonight and recommending is that you allow the chairman to sign reimbursement number 14, allow me to issue a check to Wimco for this invoice, and also submit for reimbursement to the state for their grant portion of this particular piece of the project.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? All right. All those in favor of approving reimbursement number 14, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. The next item.
Oh, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I asked that a report be given about change orders at this meeting.
Yes.
For those invoices. Are there change orders?
No, sir. If you look on page 193, you'll see where they list out any change orders. So there've been no change orders relating to the original contract or related to the furniture. So on page 193, that's the Height Associates. So you will see any change orders that go there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other? We took a vote, right, Katie? All right. Okay, now we're down to items for discussion and resolution requesting legislature. That's you, Stan.
Yes. Tonight, I think we've been well aware, made aware of, there's a problem in Beaufort County. I've been getting calls for a good 2 years now from folks, and today we saw a lot of people show up and express themselves, very heartfelt like, and it moved me. I think it moved you guys a little bit, maybe, I hope so. And I want to start by saying, you know, we're not all perfect. these people that came to us tonight, God bless them. They have problems, but they're not perfect. They're human beings. We commissioners aren't perfect. We do the best we can, but we're human beings, and sometimes we have to think like human beings. And the Department of Social Services, they're not perfect. They do the best they can to some extent. I'm sure there's some bad apples. I'm sure there's some really great people in social services and child protective services, and we're honored to have them work for us. But again, they're not perfect. These people have child protective service, social services stories. I've met a lot of people who have those stories. Heck, I've even got those stories myself personally. So I know how things can go really wrong real fast. And there is a certain amount of power they have, right or wrong, that's too much. I think there needs to be legislation in Raleigh that will help them be better at their jobs. And that can happen if they have a greater guideline through general statutes as to how to handle these very tense and unsettling moments when families are split up. Okay? Now, I understand that some families need to be split up. I get that. It's probably a necessity. But right or wrong, some families get split up that don't need to be split up. They need to be kept whole. I think, maybe I'm a small government guy. I believe in many instances, even though some families are not perfect, they do a better job than the children getting put into the system. The system swells, it gets burgeoning, it becomes bigger and bigger. It needs more to feed on, and it grows. And we need to have more guidelines through the General Assembly, through our general statutes, to manage the system that is growing right before our eyes. So, to that end, I would like to speak to that through this resolution, and it's a short resolution, so it won't take long, but I'll read it. Beaufort County Commissioners are resolved to request enhanced legislation providing for the provisions of greater oversight and judicial due process to protect children and families from the perilous strains of bureaucratic overreach. Hang on a second, I'm going to make it just a little bigger. There we go. Whereas Beaufort County's government, the Beaufort County Board of County Commissioners, is a body politic of the state of North Carolina and is empowered to perform duties and acts of governing on behalf of the North Carolina General Assembly, including oversight for that governing body and on behalf of the self-governed people of Beaufort County. And whereas families and their children are at the mercy of North Carolina's general statutes, antiquated in today's society of how children can best be protected, while strengthening the family union as children are reared to become strong, stable Beaufort County citizens. And whereas currently the local judicial courts often become involved when the process of the taking of children from their familial settings has advanced to a prominent stage without the benefit of the taking process initiated by a court order. And whereas Beaufort County's children and families are of a paramount concern to local and state politicians, where we must all agree that we should protect these familial structures from the current lack of judicial due process and the accompanying bureaucratic overreach without enhanced oversight. Therefore, let it be resolved that Beaufort County Commissioners request that our NC Senator and/or NC Representative, those who represent Beaufort County's people, bring legislation to the floor of North Carolina's General Assembly that enhances the provisions of greater oversight and judicial due process to protect children and families from the perilous strains of bureaucratic overreach. Now, this is not something I'm sending up for a local bill. This needs to be something that's investigated, thought through, and it become general statutes, not only for Beaufort County, but all of North Carolina. A lot of money spent on social services. It comes down from the federal government, it comes from the state government, and yes, we put money in ourselves, not so terribly much, and I really don't think we have as much power as a lot of the folks tonight thought we have. I just don't think we have it, but the general statutes can give us more power, and the General Assembly has the power to take greater action and greater oversight when necessary. So I would like to offer this to the board, and the board can discuss it and the board can vote on it.
Are you making the motion on the resolution at this
Yes,
point?
if that will begin the discussion.
Okay.
Yes, I will make that motion.
Do we have a second? I hear.
Second.
Okay, got a second. All right. Questions or comments?
I'd like to follow up with what Commissioner Deathridge said. There's no question that families are extremely important. There's no question in my mind that the whole process of taking children from families needs to be a judicial process. It needs to be based on a trial. It needs to be based on truth. At the present time, there seems to be a convenient handshake, and I want to follow this up with something else, between the people in social services and the people who do the family judging, that things aren't necessarily tried out as long as they should be. Now, I realize there's two sides to this. And the thing that's driving me in this is the fact that there are so many people that are complaining. Now, I, like Stan, have been through some of this. I've been involved with social services. In the case of my granddaughter and her mother, who was heavily on drugs and had to go to court to get custody of her. Social services have been to my house, and I've been through all of this stuff and dealt with people there. Never had a bad relationship or a bad time with social services over these issues. Well, I guess part of it was because I was a commissioner. But still, I don't think they treated me much differently than they would have treated anybody else. I do realize how unreasonable some of these parents can be. I do realize that people who are on the edge of and abusing children really don't maybe have as many of their faculties focused as they should have to begin with. Otherwise, they would not have crept to the edge of this business of possibly losing control of their children. But I also subscribe to something that Stan said, and that is that a lot of times these children are better off with family than they are with who they are put with. Because children suffer. My granddaughter that I raised as a result of spending 11 days in court to get custody of her, 11 days in court to get custody of her, has still never overcome it. She is scarred for life as a result of this. Her mother died from a drug overdose, just to show you what we're dealing with here. So I'm involved in some of this. I've seen this. There's two sides to this. And if we need to adjust the focus on this by studying it as commissioners or in the legislature, we need to do that. I haven't seen the people that I dealt with in social services were extremely dedicated to their work and conscious about what they were doing. That still doesn't mean that they're doing what is necessarily the best thing for society, because societies take off in oblique directions on occasion and do a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing. One of the most extreme examples of a society that lost its way was the Nazis in Germany. They lost their way, and it was considered normal to do some of the awful things that they did, and it wasn't bad. We all have a tendency to judge things a little harsher than we should on occasion. No question about that. I don't have a problem with studying this situation, and I don't have a problem with supporting this resolution, because the resolution is broad enough to require study. It's not specific in saying it's got to be my way and it's got to be this way. It's an intelligent approach to what is becoming a bigger and bigger problem.
Anyone else?
Very briefly, I was a deputy sheriff for 14 years, and I did a lot of this work with the social services, child protective services, and it had been my experience that most of the time when a child was taken without paperwork, it was one of those extremely dire emergencies, where it's either you took that child then or else that child would not be here the next day. And most of what I've seen has come from court orders. And as a board of commissioners, we don't have any jurisdiction over court orders. And I think even if we say we want oversight, if that is what you're talking about, I think you need to refine what type of oversight you are referring to. I mean, because basically, if Social Services is doing an investigation, as commissioners, we have no right to any evidence that they have saying yay or nay. I just think your resolution, you should clean it. You should clean it up. You should clean it up to where it's asking the legislature to do something differently, but not necessarily saying that bureaucrats and judges and the folk at social services are all bad, evil people, and that they are overreaching. I think you should stay within the parameters of doing what's best for children, and not paint people as villains. And I will say this, and no matter what occupation there is in life, no matter where we are in life, whether in my other profession as a pastor or as a law enforcement officer, there are good and bad in everything. And there are some people who are simply not going to do the right thing. But in my experiences in life is the good far outweighs the bad. And I think that we should be very, very careful how we move forward.
Can I answer?
Yes.
Okay. That's the reason I wrote it the way I did is I wanted a broad resolution. I don't want to tell them what to do in the General Assembly. They need to study it. They need to come back with something more well defined, giving people who are under the boot heel, if you like that, under the boot heel of bureaucratic overreach, some redress. Tonight we saw redress to their government, and they spoke to us, and that is very right that they have that opportunity to do so. This way, there will be redress at the state level, where all administration and laws for North Carolinians come down from. Now, this is mostly a state issue, and the state needs to become more involved and change things to a point that it not only works for Beaufort County, but it works for all 100 counties across the state of North Carolina. So Hood got it. We need to keep it broad. Let them come and tell us what we can do, what are our limits, and then we take a more active role and understand this to a greater extent going forward. We're not going to do it ourselves anytime soon. This is going to be like school choice. School choice is something that was provided for the people of Beaufort County to create competition. It is a work in progress. It is an evolution. It might be 5 years before we ever get something in North Carolina that's more perfect. But we need to get started now. And I see these people come before us. There's many more than this. There's a lot of people that weren't here tonight that have been calling me in the last number of weeks and over the last few years. It's just that now there's that spark that we have a problem, maybe an upcoming problem. It may not be a problem, then again it could be. We're told by some group that we have more oversight responsibilities than we encounter and encumber ourselves with. So I think it's important for us to do something, and ask the General Assembly to get involved. And they've got lawyers up there. They understand the statutes better than we do. Let them refine the statutes and come back. It's not that we're going to be able to approve the statutes. We just hope that they'll be better. Because what we saw tonight is happening in Beaufort County. It's happening in other counties as well. And I've heard so from a lot of folks. This is a widespread problem.
Well, my comment, since I've been a commissioner for the last 11 years, one of the things I've learned is that if you want to get something changed in Raleigh, there's a right way to do it. And the right way to do it is you go through the state association. Our state association has committees, And I think we would do better for us to recommend to the state association that one of our goals needs to be to take a look at it and bring it to the floor. If we get 65%, I think that's the magic number, 65% of the counties, the state legislature will move forward to make changes, in it. If we just go up there and ask one of our senators and one of our representatives to do it, and the first thing everybody's going to start doing is saying, well, what's going on in your county and how do you feel? I just don't think that we're going to get where you want to be in making some changes if changes need to be made.
I'm pretty sure we're not going to get where I want us to be anytime soon. I just think we need to get started right now. I think if we put it before the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, which is a bureaucracy unto itself, we're going to get saddled with so many different things. If we give it to the General Assembly guys and let them run with it, and if that doesn't work, or maybe an ancillary movement could be take it before the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners as well. But we need to do something now. We need to act.
What's wrong with putting it before both?
That's what I just said.
This is not a demand issue.
Yeah.
We're not out in the street burning cars and rioting. This is a polite approach to a problem. So what's wrong with giving it to the Association of County Commissioners and to our legislators?
I agree.
That gets the job done. It's putting the pressure on all of the points.
I think if we could do that, as you suggested, Frankie, and what Hood suggested, and go both directions, it'll make more impact. I really do. What I'm hearing about Cherokee County, I don't want that to happen here. I really don't.
I have questions when we pass something and we're accusing, the judicial system and another agencies of, current lack of judicial due process. I mean, how do I know? How do I know that?
Why don't we just change it from lack of process to current judicial process? This may be simply a matter of making an minor adjustment in the whole system to get where everybody wants to go. And we're not talking about throwing the whole system out. We're talking about maybe making an adjustment. I'll give you another example of something. I was raised by criminals. Both of my parents were criminals. Under the present system at social services, they are criminals. I know there was never two better people on the face of this earth than they were. And they were criminals because they disciplined me. They'd pick up a switch and let you have a little bit of it. And it made a difference. And today, that's considered cruel and unusual punishment on children. So maybe it's just a matter of adjusting the system a little bit. And that's all that this resolution that Stan has asked for. And if we are genuine and sincere about wanting to do something about this, we need to put the pressure out there and see what comes back to us. I get the feeling from the way people are talking that all you guys are some kind of special people that have all of the answers. None of us has all of the answers. So if you're genuine in wanting to do something about this, you don't mind pushing it to the legislature, and you don't mind presenting it to the Association of County Commissioners to see what other people think. It's a political process.
I am in agreement with any changes that you guys feel should be made so that we can get the process started.
Brian?
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of comments about the resolution. So in the resolution, it talks about overreach. It talks about bureaucratic overreach. Just want the board to understand that the North Carolina General Assembly created Chapter 7B of the General Statutes, and that addresses the regulatory system for investigating and dealing with these kind of issues. When you say overreach, you are implying that our employees are going outside of the bounds of state law. They are not. They are enforcing the law. So, when you look at this, DSS, every instance has judicial review. There is due process related to this. The only way custody is assumed is through parental consent or a judicial order. Now, you can take my word for it, or you can ask the county attorney. She does that for a living as well, or used to. So I understand that there are challenges across the state. I agree with you. And I think DSS would agree with you that there are challenges across the state with the DSS system, and they support changes. But for you guys to say that somehow or another our folks are bureaucratically overreaching and going against the law is wrong. I will tell you that what happened in Cherokee County, I agree. And that DSS director went to jail. And I think our DSS director would tell you she ought to have gone to jail, because what they did was they coerced a person who is illiterate into giving up custody. And that was wrong and illegal, and they paid for it. Now, DSS from the state level has been down to Beaufort County, and they spent 2 weeks in our books. And we're waiting on a letter to come back from them saying everything is fine. It went up to legal because they had to make sure that it was out there. But I'll tell you, there is overwatch, there is judicial review, there is due process. And when you claim that our folks are doing something outside of that, you're wrong.
Well, I'm sorry to take exceptions with you, and I'm sorry you're so upset about this, but we have a right to our opinion, regardless of what you may think.
You absolutely do, Commissioner Richardson, but when you go after our employees and accuse them of doing things that is not correct, then I have an obligation to stand up and tell you you are wrong. That's my opinion.
Here's the point that you're missing in all this, and you keep missing it over and over again, and so does most of this board. It was considered normal to kill a Jew in Germany at a certain point in time. That's an extreme situation. It's not normal anymore. Those are poles apart. Now, wait a minute. You need to listen. You're not listening. You've already got your mind made up. Now, let me speak, sir, and then you can speak as soon as I finish. You may speak. What we're asking for is maybe a minor adjustment in what is considered to be due process. We may be asking for an adjustment in due process. We're not saying people have done criminal things. We're saying that there's something wrong with the system, or all of these people would not be complaining.
Commissioner Richardson, I think that what I said was you are accusing our folks of bureaucratic overreach. Wait a minute, you told me I got my chance to speak. Thank you.
I'll go for you when you finish.
I'm sure you will. You have you like to do that.
Yes, sir, I do.
You do. So it's pretty disappointing that you want to bring the Nazi piece into that. That's absolutely has nothing to do with this at all. That's pretty sad. But the General Assembly is the one that writes these laws. Our employees are responsible for fulfilling those laws, carrying those out. That's their job. There is judicial due process. And if this board wants to say there needs to be some additional due process in that, please do that if you want to. But don't accuse our folks of bureaucratic overreach when they're doing the job that they're supposed to based on the law. That's all I'm saying to you. And you did accuse our folks. You've said bureaucratic overreach. Then
what I'm saying is you're beating a dead horse. You're way out in left field.
Let me say something.
Let's talk about.
Give me just one.
Wait, no. Let me do this. The application of the law can be applied in different ways. And I think the county attorney will agree to that. And it's what people think is the norm at that particular point in time for the application of the law. I used the Nazi thing as an extreme because I really think that's all some of you can understand is the extremes. You don't understand the fine points that we're talking about here. You're out on the extremes.
Well, I'd just like to say one thing. I wrote the resolution, and I put in the phrase bureaucratic overreach because I don't think of that as a criminal act. I think of it as maybe an overexuberance to do something they think may be right, but it's not. I've prefaced everything by saying we're not perfect. I would just like to see a refinement in the general statutes. I would like to see more oversight, and I think we should take an enhanced responsibility as commissioners and at the state level to do a better job in managing what has caused a problem here in Beaufort County and other counties. These people weren't here tonight because they wanted to come hang out with commissioners. They've got a real problem. Personally, I've seen bureaucratic overreach with Child Protective Services. Don't tell me I haven't. I have seen it. And I'm a big boy. I backed them right off. But these people don't have the opportunity or the know-how to back them off like I backed them off. I backed them off real quick. And you know something? They backed off because they knew they were in the wrong. So they were doing something wrong. They were getting into politics, and they shouldn't have been getting into politics. And I have that. And that was a recorded instance, and it happened to my family. Now, I saw this firsthand. Others have seen it firsthand. So don't tell me that they're perfect. And to say that they're not is that you're accusing them of being criminal. I'm accusing them of not being perfect. And they need greater oversight. Everybody needs greater oversight. My constituents are my oversight. And that's why I'm brought this here tonight.
Okay, Tandy?
I think we can get the same message across if we take out the third and fourth whereas. It removes all accusatory and bureaucratic overreach and all that other stuff. It still asks for the same information to go through and be done. If you take out the whereas currently the local judicial courts part, because believe it or not, you say in the local judicial courts often become, and then you say, without the benefit of process initiated by a court order, so you kind of contradicting your comment there, and then just the whole other thing about the bureaucratic overreach. If you take both of those two whereases out and just leave the rest alone, I think you still get your point across. I think that would be a good compromise to everything. You get to do what you want, and it gets to go across, and it gets to go forward toward, and we can put it to our legislature, and we can also put it through the state association, commissioner association.
I think we need some kind of segue in there. I think if you just drop it,
And I love you, but buddy, you wordsmith the hell out of stuff sometimes.
well, sometimes you still got it.
Okay.
The question is debatable.
We got a question. I think enough has been said.
The question is debatable, Mr. Chairman. It is debatable.
Okay, we've said enough. I'm going to call for a vote.
I asked for a ruling from the county attorney before we proceed as to whether the question is debatable or not. You can't just stop debate by one person up demanding that everybody else shut up. That's not how this system works.
Well,
I asked for a ruling.
Everybody has had the opportunity to talk.
Well, our policy basically says if every commissioner's had the opportunity to speak on it, and is there any other?
No, what it says is
there any
every
person-
commissioner shall have the opportunity to speak on it. You can speak more than one time.
Well, it was approved before I ever got to be a commissioner.
I was here. I know
And
what
you've-
was
you've
approved.
had
I helped write it.
You've had twice.
So don't start telling me what it means.
You've talked twice.
That's not how it works.
Based on my recollection of the policy, so long as everyone has had the opportunity to speak, then you are allowed to call the question.
Right.
But the question is still debatable.
Okay.
The question is debatable. You cannot vote without debating whether or not we need to keep voting on whether or not we continue debate or not.
As far as I'm concerned, the question has been called for.
I asked for a ruling.
That's not
I
to
asked
be
for a
debated.
ruling.
We don't debate that.
Whether we vote on whether the question is debatable or not, which means it has to be voted on. The question has to be voted on.
Okay, let's vote on the question. All those in favor of going ahead with the question, raise your right hand.
Well, let's be sure what we're voting on.
Okay.
We're
The question is a question.
We're voting on
That we're
whether we
stopping.
stop debate or not.
Yeah, that's
and
what we're
if you vote
saying.
for calling the question, you're voting to stop debate.
Stop debate, okay? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, okay? All right, now we'll vote on the motion or the resolution.
We're voting on it as written, because if we don't change it and get an agreement on the change, we're back to this. So I did offer to the group to change it, but we got to have substantive changes. We
Well,
just
you
can't
can,
change
all
it
you
for the
have to
sake
do
of
is
changing.
agree to what Candy said.
That's not going to do it, though. You're losing the meat of the resolution. You can rephrase it, but you just.
Do you want to win or do you want to be right? You have to decide.
I would like for it to go through and be proper if at all possible.
Stan, I'm giving you some really good advice.
Okay,
Take it out.
All right, I will agree. I will.
No,
excuse
the question is, and we're getting ready to vote on, this
I
is the
will
way it's been
agree.
presented.
I will
This
agree.
is the way it's been presented.
He is-
You didn't change when you had a chance to change it.
Oh, okay. So
Okay?
let's come to that.
You're
All right.
not.
Yep. All those in favor of the resolution as presented, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. Motion dies. We move to the next item.
So
The next item.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the resolution with number 3 and number 4 paragraph taken out.
Okay, we got a motion that you, leaving number 3 and number 4. And we got a second. All right, all those in favor?
Well, we got discussion. Discussion. Does anybody want to discuss this?
I do.
Well, I will discuss it.
I'm done.
Regardless of whether I think it's proper orientation of language, it doesn't matter. I want to get this passed. I think we have to start by doing something here in Beaufort County and just saying everything's right as rain and we don't need to do a daggone thing. Let's just move on. Item number 2. So I would appreciate it if you guys want to help and do something and begin at the beginning. Accept the changes that Commissioner Dunn requested that I agreed to and now have proffered unto you in a motion that he has seconded. I would like for you to at least consider it and not work together as a group as you normally do.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Okay, we're down to item number 2, county support of NGOs and other nonprofits. Stan?
What I would like to do, I would like to get all the NGOs that we're get started. What I would like here is I would like to get a record of all NGOs that we either give money to or that we work with in an ancillary position where we get information from them. Maybe we don't give them money. I just want to know who we're affiliated with. And then from that, I would like to work and later get an understanding of those NGOs, who they work with, and how the money filters down, because it's all involved with money. Money coming from the federal government, money coming from the state, money coming from the county. And of course, the county's a far lesser extent. But what we have in the United States today is we're finding out we've had a lot of corruption at the state level, county level, city level. And we see in Minneapolis, it's anywhere from the low single digits of billions of dollars to the teens of billions of dollars. And that may just be the tip of the iceberg. When they get to California, they're going to find a lot of money. We may even have high intensity corruption in North Carolina. I hope we don't. I pray we don't. But if you look and you notice, how do you find the corruption? The corruption is found out by the local politicians because they see something. They're there. They're there on the ground. I mean, in Minneapolis, you might not have a state level politician going around to daycares and finding out that the daycares don't really have any people in them, that they can't even spell learning center. They call it the Leering Center. And it goes like that for years. Nobody can even see that there's just a complete incapability of doing their jobs. And that job is really for them just taking money from the government. And they get that money because it's awarded to them through the politicians that are corrupt. And that money probably is getting kicked back to the politicians. That disgusts me. It's happening throughout the nation right now. It could be happening in North Carolina. I pray not. I pray it's not happening in Beaufort County. But I would just like to have a record of the NGOs and nonprofits that we deal with here in Beaufort County. That's all I ask. You guys don't even have to vote on it, just consent.
Page 129 of your budget.
Well, does that include the people we don't give money to?
If we don't give them money, how can, I have
Well,
no,
because I would like
I have
to know
no
who they are
idea
then.
who you work with that we don't give money to.
Well,
On page 129 of the budget, it lists all outside agencies that we fund, the amount, it gives the last 5 years. You guys review that every budget. You can look at it, you can take it out, you can make changes to it. In fact, you've made changes to it over the years. So you do have control of that.
And there's also, most of them have some kind of financial statements in there.
and a lot of them do not.
I would say most of them have, and also the number of people that they serve.
I would think that if we're going into the budget and these, giving money to these people come up again, that we don't give them anything unless they give us their last financial statement.
If I remember correctly, I don't think we had any without a financial statement that we gave money.
We have a budget sheet that we send to all outside agencies that you fund, and they list out where they get their money from, what they spend it on. It usually lists the folks they serve, and they give us a breakdown of what they use it for.
Could we get copies of those with the budget?
Be glad to when we get them this year. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. You want to go to your next one, Stan?
Okay. What I would like to do is a discussion of the policy regarding employees and others connected to Beaufort County government's ancillary oversight of other governmental departments as to their conduct by the use of social media. Now, I bring this up because of constituents, once again, coming to me. And I believe in free speech. I believe in free speech for everyone. But if you're a government employee or you're connected to the government and we have any kind of control whatsoever, we should have some oversight on how that free speech is levied against other people, because it just looks bad for the government, us, that we don't pay attention to what's being said out there. Now, personally, I don't care about social media. I'm not connected to it. I do not go to Facebook. I'm not connected to any kind of social media. So every now and then somebody tells me, you need to go check that out. I have a past account. That's cool. I can go in there and look anytime I want to, but I don't have time for social media. But a lot of damage is done. And one of my good constituents came to me and asked that what is being said by the general manager of the ABC board may be a bit much. And it's getting real personal. And I'm sorry her husband lost his job, but things like that happen from time to time. And I think we, being connected to that group, we do appoint some of their members. I think we should have rules and regulations as to what employees can do with social media.
Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The ABC board is not, the ABC employees are not county employees. You have no control over those employees. However, in the Beaufort County Personnel Policy, Article 5, Section 11, there is computer use, internet access, and social media policy. So in our personnel policy, we do have controls over our employees and their use of social media. So if there's an issue, then you need to bring it to me to let me know. But you can't control what you can't control what ABC board does because they're not your employees.
Very well. That being the case, I'd like to make a motion to condemn the behavior of the director over at the ABC board and the things that she has been saying publicly about officials in the county, and also to question why she has so much time to spend on social media rather than doing her job that she's paid a handsome salary for.
How do we
That's a
know?
motion.
How do we know if she's spending the time during work hours or if she's doing this at 1 o'clock in the morning?
We don't. We don't. It's a motion. You're going to vote against it, Frankie, so I'm not worried about the details. I just need a second.
No, the second, you've got the second, Hood. And I offer this. I really think that people should be careful on social media. I mean, I don't know if they're in their slippers and drinking a glass of wine or what, but when they get on social media and saying things that are very damaging to people's persons, now if you're a politician, you should be able to take it. But a lot of people aren't politicians. Wives aren't politicians, and they shouldn't have to be subjected to such. And if we're connected to it in any way, shape, or form, I don't like it.
I think this is a sticky wicket because certainly it's freedom of speech, and she doesn't mention any names. She has she has names. Oh, I do. I follow a lot of things. I think you need to be a good commissioner. You need to be in the know.
Garbage. I don't know garbage. Let's vote.
Okay.
Call a question.
All right, we got a question. All those in favor of the motion, you know what the motion is, Katie?
Who's on social media?
It's the general manager.
The general manager who's on social media saying disparaging things about citizens of Beaufort County. Let's put it that way. That covers all of it.
Okay.
Other than this resolution.
Wow. It's a shame it's not two ways.
Oh, it is two ways.
It's a shame it's not two
Oh,
ways.
it is 2 ways.
Yeah.
It is 2 ways. You should know that.
It's a shame it's not two ways.
It is 2 ways.
I mean,
You can make a motion, Frankie. You don't have to sit over there and hide.
I mean, I was told when you got in this business here, you had to have tough skin and you had to put up with everybody's crap.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
most of the time, it's very limited, and it's the same people.
Yeah, it is.
So,
I found it to be true.
I mean,
You're right.
and I feel like it's the wrong approach to go after her. I mean, I think that from my perspective, I don't know that she's done anything wrong. I wouldn't recommend that anybody do that, but
Once again, you're setting yourself up as a 10 God deciding what's
Okay.
right and wrong.
All right.
We just want your opinion.
okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed. Oh, me. Okay, we're down to SNAP changes. Good.
Yeah, well, I just like for social services to bring us up to date on any recent changes that have been made in the qualification, in the ability of people to qualify and the regulations to qualify in order to receive money from our taxpayers.
Good evening. So I've come before you before, within the last several months to kind of go over some of the changes that have been taking place with the HR 1 bill. Commissioner Richardson did ask for us to come just to kind of provide an update as to any additional changes that have taken place. We do have 2 changes that have come about. The first change is regarding shelter deductions for food nutrition services. Any individuals that are receiving those benefits, they are able to receive deductions, which helps them, enable them to receive additional food nutrition services if they're paying rent, mortgage, any homeowners insurance, property taxes. One of the changes that we have is what they call the utility allowance, and it's called the standard utility allowance. In previous policy, if anyone was receiving a low-income or had received a low-income energy assistance program check within the last 12 months at their current address, they were automatically eligible to receive a standard utility allowance, which enabled them to be eligible for more food nutrition services benefits. With the HR 1 bill, that has been changed. And that policy was prior for everyone. It did not matter, as long as you had a household and you had been at that address for 12 months, it did not matter your age. If you had received that payment, then you were automatically eligible for that deduction. That has now changed to where the only ones that are automatically eligible for that standard utility allowance is individuals that are age 60 or older or are disabled. The only major changes that's taken place with that is all other households now have to provide verification of their expense that they have. where we did not require verification of that expense previously. So whatever they are heating or cooling with, whether it be a utility bill, a gas bill, we are now required to request verification of that for households that have not received a low-income energy assistance program check or payment, within the last 12 months. Any questions about that change? Okay, the second change that we've had taken place is previously there were non-citizen lawfully admitted categories that were eligible for food and nutrition services. However, that has changed. So the individuals that were previously eligible that had been lawfully admitted were, those include refugees, individuals that had been granted an asylum, as well as trafficking survivors. So anyone that had been lawfully admitted into the U.S. because of those reasons, they were previously eligible for benefits. However, that has changed. Effective February the 1st, we just had the training on this policy last week. Effective February 1st, those individuals are no longer able to receive unless they have become a lawful permanent resident status. And so the only individuals that are able to receive at this time are those that have received that lawful permanent resident status, or they are a Cuban or Haitian entrant, or they are a citizen of the freely associated states. That is something that we here in Beaufort County have not encountered very often. So that is something that whenever we have an individual, we would certainly have to look at the policy on that. But the only change is those residents, even though they had been lawfully admitted here, those residents, again, I'll repeat, the refugees, those that had been asylums or trafficking survivors, they are no longer eligible to receive.
Okay, we're still giving benefits to illegals who have children in the United States. The children receive the benefit.
That is correct. That has not changed.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you. Spray and neuter programs.
Spay and neuter. At the last meeting, I asked questions and felt like I was kind of put down. All I was looking for was fairness and how we were going to give this money to people. So I asked for the list of how things were progressing, and I understand within a matter of a few hours, when the $20,000 was put up on the internet to pay up to $300 for each animal for spaying and neutering, that the money was gone. So I said, gee, that went fast. Wonder how all the insiders knew about this. So I asked for a list of the people who received money, and what I found out was the money wasn't fairly distributed. There were people who got paid for 3 pets. Some people got paid for 2 pets. Most people got paid for 1 pet. If something like this comes up again, I'm going to be sitting here saying we need to do a lottery to see who gets the money. And that is, you put it up on the internet. Everybody that wants to apply can apply. It's cut off at a certain time, and then there's a drawing to disperse the money, and we're not going to be paying one person out of the $20,000 $900, and 2 or 3 other people $600, and the rest of the people $300, and nobody knows how this is assigned other than the first people that applied got the money, and that's not fair. That is not fair.
Mr. Chairman, can I speak to that?
Yes.
So, again, Commissioner Richardson is accusing our staff of doing something improper, and they did not do anything improper.
Yes, it did.
Okay, that's your opinion, and you like to say that.
I'm
Unfortunately,
entitled to
hey,
that.
do I get to speak or not?
Let him speak. All right.
Thank you. So, Commissioner Richardson, again, wants to accuse our staff of doing something wrong or corrupt, and that's not the case. The information was put out there. The reason he sent a note, and I sent it to all y'all, is there was a constituent of his who complained that she didn't get in on it because she couldn't get the Facebook or something, but she had a cat. Cats weren't eligible for this. I think we've sent her information about how she could be eligible for some things related to cats. So we've tried to do our best to help constituents. So, are there better ways to do things? Yeah, there probably are. We modeled it after the way the spay and neuter program in the state is, and that is you apply, first come, first serve. You know, if the board wants to direct us to do something different, then you can do that. But you have to remember, This was a family that said, we want to give you $20,000 to do spaying and neutering of dogs, and we want you, and there aren't any restrictions on this. So we're doing their wishes. Now, if a constituent didn't get that, I'm sorry. But we were acting at the best interest that we were given based on the family who gave that money to try to say, we want to help. So.
Okay. You want to go to the Chakawinity Industrial Park?
Well, I still say that wasn't fair, and I'd like to point out that the manager's spending a lot of time defending employees, and where there's smoke, there must be some fire.
So, Mr. Chair, may I speak?
Yes.
So, you know, I have started speaking up a little bit more, Commissioner Richard, and it's probably because I see the light at the end of the tunnel. But the way this board, you particularly, treat county employees and the way that you accuse folks of doing things is nothing but you playing politics in a way to try to get a vote. Now, what's sad about it is that you're just a big bully. And the only thing that makes you feel good is to try to make other people feel bad. And that's a sad way to live. And I'm sorry for you. But I am not going to allow you to talk bad about our employees, because it's my job to stand up for them when they're doing something right. And if they do something wrong, I deal with it.
Well, sir, whenever you can present examples, I'm sitting here waiting to hear them. Because you don't have any.
All right, let's get...
Of our employees doing good things? Shame
I
on
want
you.
examples
Shame
of
on
me
you.
mistreating
Shame on you.
employees. Give me some examples. You don't have any. Give me
employees what?
examples of where I've mistreated county employees. You don't have any.
It's verbal
I don't
abuse.
have to say that. It's all on film. Thank you.
Verbal abuse.
Frankie, you give me examples of what you're saying. No, you
say
make
it-
an accusation.
You say it in just about
against
every
somebody.
meeting. You say it in just about every meeting.
No, I don't.
as it
I
relates
do not
to
attack
employees.
county employees. I attack policies and issues. And just because you guys take it personally, that is your problem, not mine.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about, I thought we had taken the Chakawinity Industrial Park off.
You did for 6 months, but the 6 months is long past.
Well, go ahead and bring it up again.
Well, what I'm saying is the Chakawinity Industrial Park has been sitting there since like 2007. It's not zoned for industrial development. It goes up on the state website. It's not being zoned for industrial development, and it is not going to develop until the Board of County Commissioners takes it on themselves to get the zoning change to heavy industrial. You've got a site that's got a railroad track, a 4-lane highway, a high-tension power line, and natural gas that's been sitting there for 7 years undeveloped, and you need to ask yourself why. Stan Deathridge and I asked ourselves why about a year ago, and we looked into it, and we found out it's not zoned for industrial development, and the county owns it. It's your tax money at work and your jobs that you're losing, and we need to get it changed.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes.
So the property is zoned industrial for industrial development. It's zoned light industrial. So
We
let's
have
be
a
clear.
frame shop.
So words matter. So it is not zoned heavy industrial, but when we went to the town of Chakawinity, they did include heavy industrial in their zoning categories. They chose not to make that area heavy industrial. It is zoned light industrial. They are open to maybe looking at zoning it heavy on one side. We had that conversation with the board. But again, for board members who understand and board members who don't understand, you have no control over that zoning. It is in the ETJ of the town of Chakawinity, and they control the zoning. They get to decide that. You don't. You guys know that.
Mr. Chairman, that's not correct. That was a special bill that was put into the legislature, and it can be reversed with another special bill. It just takes this board getting off of its fanny and doing something about it.
Yeah, Hood's right about that. But it would be nice to have work with the town of Chakawinity so that we can get heavy industrial over there. I mean, the light industrial is not working. I mean, you do it on one side, you do it on another side. What if somebody wants the whole amount, and then we get held up by another government when we actually need those jobs here in Beaufort County? There's some factories that would do heavy industrial because you're offering Highway 17, you're offering rail, you're offering gas, and you're offering a good chunk of high ground that drains extremely well. If you could find that right group to come here, they may bring 4,000 jobs. And that you could. It's enough ground there to do so. And it's in a very good location. It's prime. It's a better location than the other industrial park that we have. It's a better piece of ground than the other industrial park. And it was probably a good purchase to buy.
The official zoning still says light industrial. You can talk all this junk you want to about maybe on the 4th of July in the year 2037, they may want to zone it heavy industrial. You can say all of that kind of stuff. No company is going to buy into that. You either zone it heavy industrial or it stays light industrial. That's the official zoning if you look at the zoning map. And all of the promises and the talking you want to do won't change that because it comes up in Raleigh as light industrial. When the companies are doing screening, looking for sites, they're not going to come because they know what light industrial means.
They look at light industrial and they just say pass.
That's right.
Okay, before we go to the next item, I'm going to make a motion that we take this item off of the agenda for the next 6 months.
Second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? All right. Go to the study on the occupancy tax.
Well, I have not yet seen in writing, signed by anybody, a study on the amount of taxes that we're going to collect from the occupancy tax. We've heard the number, $261,000, but that's a number that a consultant gave us who's going to make money out of this thing. So naturally, he's going to tell you you're going to make a lot of money. I make a motion that we commission from whatever source we can get it from, a signed document with an estimate of the amount of revenue that the occupancy tax will bring in. That's a motion.
Okay. And there's a second. The local bill has already been sent and is in process in Raleigh.
Well, I don't mean we have to do it. It's just a local bill. It's called enabling legislation. Is what it is.
I'm not for backing up and stopping it, so I guess I'm asking what good is a study going to do? Not going to change my opinion.
You're going to go bankrupt. Well, when you're sitting here going bankrupt and trying to decide whether you're going to fund this out of county revenues or not and subsidize it, that's what I'm trying to avoid going in, that we don't do something that's going to cost us money. Because we don't know how much money we're going to collect out of this. You're going out there and throwing a tax on something, you got to hire somebody to administer it. You got all kinds of expenses in overhead. So the last time we looked at this 10 years ago, we decided that there would not be enough revenue, not collect enough taxes to pay the expenses. So now we're off doing this again without a study.
Ed?
Yeah, Commissioner Richard, you're so correct. 10 years ago, we did do this study, but at that time there was a bed and breakfast wasn't even heard of in Beaufort County. And the reason that the study was done, and the reason that we didn't take part in it, is because the only two municipalities that was be affected was Chocowinity, which had a motel, and the city of Washington. That is the reason that we didn't do it. But now you got somebody, I think, 400. That is true. I was here when it happened.
That is not so.
It is true.
We'll
but
go
anyway,
back to the minutes.
we'll go back. You just go. But you're going to lose anyway, so just hush. But what I was getting ready to say is this, is since that time has happened, there's 400 bed and breakfasts in this county.
How you know that?
Well, wait a minute. You get a chance to question me. But the thing about it is, the people ask for it, that's going to be affected. Bellhaven, Bath, Aurora, those are the people that ask for it. Am I correct?
Yes.
I rest my case.
Yeah, but if we're going to get down to particulars, those people they should ask their governments or local governments for it, not us.
They did. We are the local government.
No, they've got
No.
Bellhaven, Bath, and Aurora have taxing authority.
Yeah, same thing.
No,
we got.
they've working together, trying to unify everything outside the city of Washington, which is the way they were trying to do that. Not splinter this county into 7 more or 6 more, and then leave the people outside the municipalities. I mean, that's where we come in. I mean, most of the ones that are being rented now technically are outside of the city limits of all 7 municipalities that we're trying to go after.
So if they can't get a tax ordinance done, they come to us and we will.
Okay, that's already done, so.
Want to so gleefully raise taxes on people?
Well, I mean, that's already been voted on. I mean, so, okay. You guys made a motion, right? So, you made a motion?
Yeah, I made a motion.
And a second, okay. All right, all those in favor of that motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? All right. Now you want to update on the fraud case?
Well, I'd like to ask the attorney, my understanding is that the insurance companies have all paid off the money that they're supposed to pay to make the various government entities whole, and that the money situation has been settled, but that the sentence hasn't been placed on the person who stole the money.
That's correct. They're 2 separate cases. There's a civil case and a criminal case. The civil case has been resolved and settled, and insurance has been paid out. The criminal case remains pending.
Do you understand why the criminal case hasn't been resolved?
I do not. Any questions that pertain to that would have to be directed to the district attorney's office, as they are the ones who run that process.
Well, he just frowns when I ask him.
Okay. You want to go to the BHM library? Okay. Resolution of support to increase the penalties for those selling illegal drugs.
Yes, this is the same resolution. This is the same resolution that I brought last month. It was 3-3, and I won't burden you with reading it again because 5 of you've already heard it. And I move that we pass this resolution to bolster our elected officials in going after drug dealers.
Second.
Would you consider amending this?
How do you want to change it?
From 10 years to 5, and eliminating item number 2.
Number 2, the illegal use of drugs has caused great harm? No. Oh, number 2, a maximum. No, all you're doing is watering the bill down, Frankie. You're supporting drug dealers. I can't believe this board supports drug dealers.
I mean,
why would you want to lighten the burden on somebody that's out selling pure poison to the public?
I mean, to my knowledge, we still have room to put people in. Why would we go out there and build a specialized prison?
The cost in Beaufort County is astronomical, and what it's costing this county in money and in people and in families. We need to build jails to hold these people until we can get them convinced that selling drugs is not a way to make a living. Why do you support the drug dealers?
Do you support building additional space here in Beaufort County?
I support building a state prison for these people because they get more than a 6-year penalty, and that's a state duty, not a county duty.
Okay. All right. Well, you don't want to take it out. So
no, you're supporting drug dealers if that's why you're voting against this. Yes, you are.
I'm not supporting
drug
dealers.
Yes, you are, Frankie. You're supporting drug dealers.
No. All right. You made a motion?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and a second. All right.
Let's see how many people support the drug dealers.
Okay.
I'm going to show you.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed.
Thank you for your drug dealer support. Now, you do realize that it's legitimate for me to go out and tell people that you support drug dealers because you refused to stiffen the penalties on them, and that's going to happen.
You're known for lying anyway, so go ahead and do it.
HUD, you're just being mean again.
Yeah, I'm mean. I'm being mean to a county employee. Mr. Chairman, would you like to defend the drug dealers too? Or Mr. Manager, would you like to defend the drug dealers?
See, that's an example of why there's a challenge in getting good qualified staff to want to come here and work. And that's a reason you have problems getting people to want to come to Beaufort County and live.
And businesses as well.
And let's take it one step further. I mean, I've tried to recruit people to run for the commissioner's seat that I'm leaving, and you know what? You're the reason they said no.
I'm delighted. You couldn't
reason
have told me a better thing.
Because they sympathize with the crap that I've had to put up with.
Well, gee,
I mean, really.
These are sick people like you are too then, Frankie. I'm glad you're sorting them out for me.
Well, thank goodness that all of your people are perfect just like you are.
Hood Richardson, you are an enigma.
Okay, why don't you go to the BHM library again?
Well, Mr. Langley kind of accused me of making up stuff at the last meeting, so we've gone back to the newspaper, and we've got the article in here that clearly says that the BHM library is supporting the minimum wage, which is a political movement, and they're not supposed to be doing that, and he serves on the board over there. So I think he should go back to the board and tell the board they need to get in line with running a library and get out of the political realm.
Well, I think their major focus is running the library, and this was an opportunity for a grant, and that grant has already been distributed to someone else. So what you're talking about really is a moot point where there's no real reason to even be dealing with this. So we'll go to your next item.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay, next one is your information content in the upcoming school and community college budget.
This is going to be for a vote, and I realize you guys are going to vote against it, but I'm doing it so the public can see how easily that you waste their money. We don't know where the money goes that we give to the schools. We give them about $17 million a year to the public schools and another $3 or $4 million to the community college. And I've asked for this information over and over, and you guys keep telling me all I have to do is ask for it and I'll get it. So this is in the form of a motion. When the school budget comes in, I would like to see the number of jobs and that the county pays the salary for that job that's in the school system. How many jobs? Show the job classification. You don't have to show the name, and show the amount of money that they are paid. And then the number of salaries for partial salaries that are paid with county money to school employees. And then the number and the salary of employees paid with federal funds, exclusively with federal funds. And the number of employees and the amount of money that they make. And a list of the job by title and the number of those employees in the school system. Like we got 600 teachers, and we got 40 people in the janitorial staff, and that. I'd like to see a list by job title of those numbers broken down by the number of people and the amount of money spent annually for purchasing canned curriculums. Canned curriculums are things that come in on the internet and that the teacher just puts up on the video and plays it, and that the examinations are pre-given. And really, the teacher doesn't have to do very much, but it's a canned program. And how much money are we spending for canned programs? And then the amount of money paid for new textbooks each year. Because textbooks are leaving the school system, and we're going more and more to these canned programs. With the canned programs, parents don't know what's being taught, but with a textbook, a parent can pick up a textbook and see what's being taught. So that's a motion. I would like that information presented as a part of our budget.
Second that, Hood. Let's see how the vote goes.
Are we going to have representatives, Brian, next week from the college and
This week.
school?
This week.
I mean this week.
Mr. Dunn will be there. He's interim superintendent.
No, I want this information presented He doesn't have to present it this week. I've asked for it before. We're doing the budget. As long as we get it before we vote on the budget, which will be June, we'll be fine.
Well, I mean, can you not just ask them
I want
during the retreat?
Listen.
During the retreat?
Look, this board funds the school. We have the right to ask for the information that we want for the schools, from the school system before we fund them. We have the right to have that information. When you vote against this, you are denying this board the information that it needs to make an intelligent decision about the budget. That's why this is on here, Frankie, to try to force you into a position of responsibility, which you have run from for the last 11 years.
They have an elected school board, which I wish you would run for. That way you'd have more control over that. We have an appointed school board at the community college. And our job as commissioners is to allocate the amount of money in the budget process. So
we have a responsibility to know how that money is spent.
Okay, all right. You made the motion. Is that right, Katie? All right. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All those opposed?
So you're going to dump the money and run again, huh?
Why don't you go to your next one? I'm sorry I missed this discussion at the last meeting. So did you bring this one back for me?
Yeah, I did. Well, I brought that one back, and the other one that you voted against, having to do with drugs. I'm going to pass this resolution out. I have a resolution written out here, so that if you would, pass one over to the clerk so that she can have one. And really, I'll make the motion. The Beaufort County Commissioners supports, it's underlined, or does not support the policies of the Beaufort County Community College about LGBTQ. There's supposed to be a Q in there plus, and that means the Beaufort County Community College is advertising the LGBTQ plus club.
You jumped some, didn't you? You skipped a bunch, too. Random drugs. You skipped.
What I skip?
Drug test.
Oh, you want to go back to that one?
Sure.
We can go back to that one.
I want to know how you want to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
talk about.
You're going to have so many campaign signs to make. I don't know how you're going to hold them all.
We're going to, I have to tiptoe around this rather delicately.
You really do.
We are electing a new crop of younger commissioners.
We are? Look at us.
We have to.
Yeah, hopefully.
Can't get above us in age. But at any rate, we have a policy having to do with drugs with county employees. There is no policy having to do with commissioners and drugs. If a commissioner were to be elected and he were to come to a meeting and he were to start acting erratically.
Define that.
You said it ain't so.
How would we handle that? I think we need to think about this and we need to talk about that.
How have you handled it in the past?
We haven't had it happen in the past. We've had them here. Yeah, well, wait a minute. I'll take that back. We have had that happen, but we haven't had them acting erratically to where their behavior was obvious that they were not in a normal mood.
That's pretty crazy. Commissioners up here, way back when.
Frankie says I do, but I mean.
Okay, well, what are you, you ready to make a motion?
Well, what do you guys think about this?
I wouldn't want it up.
I'll take a drug screen any day, 24 hours a day.
As a conservative, I do not want to spend county money, taxpayer money on such tests.
I'm not worried about you guys.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
You might want to get the advice of the county attorney on this.
Okay, Amanda?
Yeah, if I may.
Yes.
If you all wanted to adopt a policy and consent to that, it would be enforceable as far as you all are concerned. That would not be enforceable for any incoming commissioners as they are elected officials. Generally speaking, drug tests are considered a search under the Fourth Amendment, and so you do have to proceed carefully. And if you were to get positive results, the recourse there would not be available to you all as commissioners, as elected officials.
Well, this is just something that I wanted you to be aware of. that we need to think about and that has come before the board, so I have done my duty. So when we have the incidents, then the board can worry about it at that time.
The ones that you're running this time, have you?
What do you mean I'm running?
Have you put them through a drug test?
What do you mean I'm running?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I haven't drug tested anybody. I don't have any authority to drug test anybody.
Well,
Thank you for letting me run again.
Okay, let's move down to the S.W. Snowden school disposal.
There's talk, people in Aurora pushing to dispose of the school and do this and do that with it. Of course, this is up to the school board. We know that they're the moving authority under the general statutes on this particular issue. But I just wanted to make the board aware, if some of the people that, as you say, I'm pushing for election this time, happen to win the election, that school is going to be reopened. So you don't need to be over making deals in the back room of the school board about how we're going to dispose of the school.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we receive some bids on a commercial appraisal of not only Snowden, but also John Cotton Taylor, because that needs to be known before anything really gets done. I was at the last school board meeting, and that was the discussion. So next month, if it, let's see who comes up and bids on such a thing.
Well, we can't do that until the school board takes their action. We have no authority to do that until the school board.
You can get appraisal on your property.
But why would we spend the money, as you were saying, why would we spend $50 for a drug test and you want to spend $4,000 or $10,000 for, are you sure you got this in line here?
You're going to do it anyway.
I've been told that it's going to be on their agenda to do just what he said.
Well, let's wait until they act. Let's see what they do.
So, but they're talking about both schools.
Yeah, let's see what they do.
All right. How many more you got? Okay, the Bellhaven Community After School Program.
The accusation, and I've got the packet here that supposedly got the proof in it, that the DA has the same thing, and about the thievery that's going on in Bellhaven, where the mayor has been accused of misusing funds for the after-school club. Now, that is the same after-school club that this county gave $13,000, I believe it was, in that neighborhood, too. The county has money in that after-school club. And he's being accused of using the credit cards from that after-school club and misusing that money, and the money has not been paid back. So what do you commissioners want to do about your money being used in that way in Bellhaven?
I would say that, to my knowledge, nothing has been concluded that it has not been to any kind of court, other than it's still being investigated, to my knowledge.
That would be my knowledge as well.
I guess my question is, until everybody's innocent until proven guilty, there are some rumors that says it's all been paid back, and then there's a rumor that not all of it was paid back. So I don't like to react based on the rumor mill until we have something more concrete.
Well, then, would you like for the county attorney to determine whether this is under investigation by the DA's office or not?
I don't have any problems with that. I'm not sure. I'm assuming that based on what I've been told, that he's been asked, but as you well know, he has to make that decision on whether he's going to move forward.
Yeah, but if it doesn't really matter whether it's been paid back or not. If he took the funds and misused the funds, that was the fraud right there. So paying the money back becomes sort of inconsequential. It may mute what the sentence would be or something like that. But are we going to sit here as county commissioners and allow and put money into entities and allow the officials to misuse that money? That's why we need to see if it's under investigation. And, Mr. Manager, can you tell us whether you think that fund was funded partially by county money or not?
I have no idea.
Okay, can you determine that?
I don't think I can.
Who did you write the check to?
I didn't write the check, but the check was issued to the Belhaven After School Center. But I don't know what they did with those funds. So, I mean, they used it for their programming.
Well, to my
But
knowledge,
again, I would go back to the fact that you're innocent until proven guilty in this country. And if someone is found guilty of doing something wrong, then there will be restitution or there will be whatever. So I think you're very premature in accusing people of things until it goes through the court system.
Well, we're on track then with the county attorney finding out whether or not there's an investigation. We all agree on that, I presume.
I think that there was an article in the paper that said, and I think the chief of police in Belhaven, because that would be the authority having jurisdiction, started an investigation, and I think they referred it to the DA.
yeah, that's it. And to answer your other questions, as far as I know, there's only one checking account that all the funds go into. They don't have our funds isolated and people that just write a check for $100 or $500.
Yeah, but the problem with that is it was reputed that a credit card was misused. So does he have a credit card on the whole town of Belhaven? How was the funds segregated out?
No, this is a completely separate entity. The money.
That's right. This is a separate entity.
It's a separate entity. Now, the TAN did just like we did. The TAN gave that group money. So they wrote them a check, and it was put into that account.
And that was our money that went into that account, was the $13,300.
And the card that was used was the nonprofit.
That's correct.
Nonprofit.
We're in agreement.
So, okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, it'll help your question is the amount of funds that have been fraudulently used. Does anybody know the dollar amount?
I have not. I have not seen what the total figure is. Okay, you want to go to your resolution?
The resolution about LGBTQ plus? Oh, okay. I handed out the resolution.
Yes.
You've got the resolution. I'll read the resolution. Does the Beaufort County Board of Commissioners support or does not support the policies of the Beaufort County Community College about LGBT, and there's a Q after that, plus, that I left off when I typed this. And that is the advertising of LGBTQ plus club on the college's TV site that the students use and that the high school students are exposed to. They provide a counselor for this and a meeting room for this. And the question is, does this Board of County Commissioners, they get county money, does this board support their policy on LGBTQ plus? Yes or no? The motion is, do you support the use of this?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to say something that will probably be amazing or astonishing to you. So, the first time I met a gay guy was 50 years ago. His name was Ronald Chappelle, and his mother was my 10th grade biology teacher. I went to school in Bath, a girl I knew very well who passed away last year, later in life became gay. My brother is gay. Didn't know it for years, got married, had 2 kids. He's gay. I worked with a young lady who's now retired from ECU Police Department. She is gay. I've worked with and been around a lot of gay people. They do not bother me. They do not attempt to live their lifestyle or push their lifestyle out on me. And as far as I know, sexual orientation is a protected class. I don't see why you keep bringing this up. I think you beat it to death, just like you have some of the other stuff that I do support, Hood. And I don't know what their policy is. You've told me what the policy is. I don't know what their policy is. And I'm not going to support a resolution condemning the school's right for those kids to have a club that they feel comfortable in going to and meeting and discussing their issues. My brother sold over $425 million worth of real estate in Florida last year. I think he's pretty successful. So being gay is their life choice, and it's not mine, and obviously it's not yours. There are somebody's kids, and hopefully their parents love them no matter what their choices are. I might not like what my brother does, but I still love him because he's my brother, and I am tired of hearing about the lesbian gay club at the community college, and you might hate me because of it, but I'm tired of it. I'm through.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Let me go back to what I said last month. I don't dislike gay people. I've had a lot of friends who are gay. I've never had a problem with any of them. They have never had a problem with me. Live and let live has always been my policy. But it is not good judgment to take public money and put it into something as controversial as this is. And that's my only goal in this, my only concern in this is that that is not the time and the place for this kind of stuff. And I've never had a problem with it. It's going to be there. I don't hate gays. I don't hate lesbians. I don't have a problem with it. But it is totally bad, insenseless, intemperate judgment to take public money and use it for this kind of a purpose.
Well, where do we draw the line? Do we draw the line at disabled veterans? Do we draw the line at the chess club? 60 years ago, you would have been saying the same thing. Do we draw the lines about blacks? I'm sorry.
Yes, don't
you
put
would
those
have.
words in my mouth.
You would have.
That's not
they're
true.
here, like they're here. We're here and we're queer and we're here to stay. I think you just need to move on and let's just forget about it. I'd like to make a motion that we don't bring up the LGBT
You're
club
out
at
of
the
order. We got to
community
vote on
college.
this first. You do it after we get in order.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Yes. Huh?
But let me,
You made a motion.
I made a motion.
I'm going to have to go on Hood now. Just kidding.
Well,
No, look, Hood's got a point. Hood's got a point.
Well, why don't you second it so we can continue?
No,
the
I'm going to
discussion?
okay. I'll second it and then I'll speak. No, I'll second it and I will speak. Now, Hood's got a point. Hood's point is government getting involved where maybe it shouldn't. On the other hand, I want to see just how far the community college is going to go with Turning Point USA when that comes along. Listen, they can have all the LGBTQ they want, but if they shut down Turning Point USA, I'm going to have a real problem.
Right.
So, Hood, would you change your resolution to such?
Say what?
I don't know. Maybe something along the lines of that they will be all inclusive out at the community college, regardless of the club, providing the club is a protected class, which religion is a protected
I'm
class.
gonna leave it like it is.
Leave it like it is.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion? Okay.
well, I hate to do this, but I'm not going to vote for this motion either. And for the simple reason, I'm not going to help you promote your hate.
I'm
And
not.
wait a minute, let me finish that.
When you make that statement, I'm going to defend myself every time. Hate doesn't have anything to do with this.
Okay.
You need to
Wait a
understand
minute.
that. My hate right now is going towards you for lying about me.
All right, I'm going to finish it up now. I'm going to finish it up. A couple of years ago at the polls, I shook a young man's hand right here in Beaufort County. And he stood there, and Hood, you know who he is, because I told you about him since I'm lying. You're the liar. And he said, you mean to tell me you shook my hand? I said, yeah. He said, Mr. Richardson wouldn't shake my hand.
He's
he said,
lying. Now, Sirius is running for county commissioner, and he's lying.
If you throw a brick in a herd of hogs, the one that get hit will squeal.
And he's admitted that he's homosexual.
That's right. And let me finish. And I made, not only that, I appreciate the comments you said. 60 years ago or better, it would have been me. But I'm not going to promote hate on nobody. That's his lifestyle. I mean, if it was my child, I would love it to the bitter end. If it was gay, but
That's not what we're talking
well,
about.
it is what you're talking about. It's
would
pure
you
hate.
please show respect?
He don't know
I'm
how.
showing respect. You guys are off the subject. You're off the issue. You're trying to make it into something that it's not.
Well,
I'm talking about the misuse of government funds, and that's all I'm talking about.
Well, the thing about it is, I'm going to say what I said, and I'm going to mean what I say. I'm not going to vote for it. I'm not going to help you promote your hate. You can call it what you want to call it. You can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig.
It's still a pig.
But the thing about it is, I know what I said to that young man, and I know what you said to me when I told you, and you said yes.
I did not.
Well, I'm lying
I remember
then.
the conversation. You are lying.
Okay, we got.
In November, you pulled the same stunt and you walked around with a sign that said, "I support the LBGQ community and Beaufort County Community College."
Huh?
Yeah, you did. And so what happened was somebody was watching and they donated a really good sum of money to this club. I hope they're still watching, and I hope they donate this time.
In your honor.
Well, that's fine. I got more votes than Hood Richardson.
Call the question.
Okay, we got a question. All those in favor of this motion, raise your right hand. All those opposed?
Yes, wasting county money.
Okay, we're down to the closed session, and Brian, you or Katie want to read us into the closed session?
It's to go into closed session under GS 143-318-11-5 to establish and instruct negotiating on behalf of body for property.
Okay, I need a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor going into closed session, raise your right hand. Okay, we're back from the closed session. Need a motion to come out of the closed session.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand.
7-0.
Okay, and there was no action taken. So we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Whoa, wait a minute. I get my 2 minutes.
Lord, God knows you've already had enough to say.
I know I've had a lot of
Really.
I just want to say that I've met all my goals tonight. The public needs to realize what they see going on this board is what you get, and they need to remember that on Election Day.
Okay, I think you've said enough. Would you mind making a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Okay. Second. And a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand, or either stand up.